Chapter 1190. Since Shifeng had seen him in the wild, ancient secret dimension, Zhao Feng could not allow him to leave alive. Once Shifeng told this matter to the Sky Feather Island Lord, he would definitely be able to guess that Zhao Feng could enter and exit the wild, ancient secret dimension at will. If the Sky Feather Island Lord revealed this matter, no one in the ancient, desolate realm of gods would let Zhao Feng off. Thus, Shifeng could not be allowed to leave alive. He even had to kill Shifeng right now to seal up this secret. Shifeng, what are you standing around for? Hurry and follow. The golden armored man, leading the Golden Jade race group, coldly barked. Yes. Shifeng's body trembled at the golden armored man's voice, and he hurriedly agreed, as if this was an instinctive response. From this, one could see just how much Shifeng respected and feared this golden armored man. Just like Shifeng, many people in the group also treated this golden armored man with great respect. This was because this person was the strongest genius of the Golden Jade race, Quasi-God Di Lin, the future hope of the Golden Jade race. Swish! At this moment, a faint golden light streaked across the horizon, heading straight for Shifeng. What, you dare? Shifeng's face contorted in shock. Zhao Feng had actually attacked him, and he could even sense a killing intent. He had originally been wondering why Zhao Feng had appeared here. Had he used a teleportation array to leave and join another 4.5-star faction? But now, Zhao Feng was alone and attacking him. He was truly audacious. Even if Shifeng was no match for Zhao Feng, he was still part of the Golden Jade race group. Zhao Feng's actions were undoubtedly provoking the Golden Jade race. Good sir, who are you? Why are you attacking my Golden Jade race? Quasi-God Di Lin roared. Shifeng was delighted to see Quasi-God Di Lin speak. Although Quasi-God Di Lin did not like him, he was still a member of the Golden Jade race. Quasi-God Di Lin was proud and arrogant, and for the sake of the Golden Jade race and his own face, he would not just stand by and watch. I have a grudge with this person. I want his life. Zhao Feng coldly said. Kaboom! That faint golden light suddenly erupted with scorching flames, as if it had turned into a flaming meteor. Xiao! After activating the immemorial Blood Devil Sun bloodline, Zhao Feng's speed increased exponentially. What a powerful aura! What a terrifying primordial bloodline! Zhao Feng's sudden burst of might frightened Shifeng so much that he turned pale, and his entire body trembled. He clearly remembered that when he fought against Zhao Feng's bloodline wasn't very strong. Who? Zhao Feng's speed was too fast. Shifeng could only rely on the wind intent that he was proficient in to move a distance away. Boom! Zhao Feng instantly arrived beside Shifeng. He circulated his sacred lightning constitution and immemorial Blood Devil Sun bloodline as he punched out. Boom! A terrifyingly hot physical force directly struck Shifeng's body. Ah! With a shrill scream, Shifeng's body was torn to shreds. Zhao Feng struck out right away, and it was a killer move as well. He obliterated Shifeng's physical body directly. Shifeng hadn't expected this, and neither had the other members of the Golden Jade race. Kaboom! Terrifying, blazing scarlet flames ignited everything around Shifeng. The berserk, scorching flames swallowed Shifeng's body in an instant. Whoosh! A dark blue soul body escaped from the scarlet flames. Although Zhao Feng's fierce attack and the immemorial Blood Devil Sun bloodline had injured his soul to a certain extent, it wasn't enough to kill him. How was this possible? Shifeng's soul body was stunned. He couldn't even block a single attack from Zhao Feng. Tribulation, lightning, eye flame. Tribulation lightning symbols flickered in Zhao Feng's left eye, forming a twisted ball of tribulation lightning flames. Cackrack! A ball of dazzling lightning exploded on Shifeng's soul body. No! Shifeng's soul let out a blood-curdling scream. The power of tribulation lightning crazily bombarded his soul, and his soul completely disappeared wherever it went. Finally, Shifeng's soul and the power of tribulation lightning disappeared into the air. Shifeng was dead. Not even Shifeng himself had imagined that he would die so suddenly and so simply. Not bad. Immemorial Blood Devil Sun Bloodline. Level 1 Fire Intent. Zhao Feng faintly smiled. Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body alone was enough to crush Shifeng. When the power of the immemorial Blood Devil Sun Bloodline and the immemorial Blood Devil Sun Bloodline were added to the mix, Shifeng was simply incapable of enduring a full-strength attack from Zhao Feng. Thump thump. Everyone on the Golden Jade race side could clearly hear their own heartbeats. Even the strongest prodigy of the Golden Jade race, quasi-god Di Lin, was stunned. Although he could also easily kill Shifeng, he couldn't do what Zhao Feng had done so cleanly and swiftly that he could destroy the body in one move and the soul in another. Kaboom! The golden-haired man stood where he was, his entire body covered in scarlet glass and scorching flames. He was like a demon of fire, tyrannical and unruly. At this moment, all the members of the Golden Jade race felt like their bloodlines were being scorched by this man. This meant that this man's bloodline was even stronger than theirs. Who are you? Why did you kill a member of my Golden Jade race? After a long while, quasi-god Di Lin's eyes focused as he straightforwardly asked. The man before him might be stronger than him, but he was alone while his team had 9 members of the Golden Jade race, 2 of whom were rank 3 true gods. Zhao Feng had killed a member of the Golden Jade race in front of all of them. This was a slap to the face of both him and the Golden Jade race. Quasi-god Di Lin naturally would not remain silent. This has nothing to do with the Golden Jade race. He has a grudge with me, so I took his life. Zhao Feng looked at quasi-god Di Lin, his expression indifferent. Di Lin, let's forget about it. This person is extremely talented and is probably a disciple of some major faction. Moreover, Shifeng isn't a member of the Golden Jade race. A rank 3 quasi-god behind quasi-god Di Lin messaged him in admonishment. This golden-haired man showed no fear when facing off against their team. This meant that he either had an illustrious background or some other trump card. Given his hundreds of thousands of years of experience, he decided that it was best to let this matter go. Isn't it too arrogant for Sir to kill a member of my Golden Jade race, just like that? Quasi-god Di Lin coldly snorted, not listening to the elder's advice. How could someone who knew Shifeng be a genius of a major faction? Even if Zhao Feng really was a genius of a major faction, he should have many experts protecting him. Why would he be traveling alone in the wild, ancient secret dimension? Moreover, Zhao Feng's cultivation was far too low. What do you want? Zhao Feng coldly asked. If Zhao Feng hadn't killed Shifeng with lightning-quick speed and Shifeng had leaked his secret, it would be even more troublesome. Although this group had 9 people, with Zhao Feng's speed, none of them would be able to catch up unless they used their trump cards. As long as you lower your head and admit your wrongs, I'll pretend that this matter never happened. Quasi-god Di Lin straightforwardly said. Quasi-god Di Lin had always been a prodigy of the race, revered by all. But now, Zhao Feng had ignored him and instantly killed Shifeng, shocking everyone present and making quasi-god Di Lin extremely unhappy. But as long as Zhao Feng lowered his head in front of him, wasn't that proof that Zhao Feng was inferior to him? Scram! Zhao Feng's eyebrows rose, his eyes exuding a cold light. Quasi-god Di Lin didn't care about Shifeng at all, nor did he care about Shifeng's death. He just wanted to use him to establish his might. Swish! Swish! Zhao Feng withdrew his bloodline energy, condensing a pair of dazzling golden wings on his back as he prepared to leave. Stop him! Quasi-god Di Lin immediately bellowed as he charged forward with 2 rank 3 quasi-gods. Jade Lightbind. The 3 of them circulated their intense and intent energy. Swoosh swoosh. 3 golden jade ribbons of dazzling golden jade light shot toward Zhao Feng. Seeking death. Zhao Feng coldly snorted in extreme displeasure. Swish. With a wave of his right hand, a black-robed man and several ferocious ancient beasts appeared at Zhao Feng's side. Ancient spiritual pets that Zhao Feng could summon alone all had the strength of a rank 2 true god at the very least. Bang! All the spiritual pets and Zhao Wang attacked at the same time, their dreadful attacks instantly destroying the skills of the 3 Golden Jade race members. Boom! The shockwaves of the attacks surged toward quasi-god Dilin. Watch out, Dilin! The 2 rank 3 elders immediately took action to block the shockwaves for quasi-god Dilin. Don't force me to kill you. Zhao Feng's eyes were as cold as ice, stabbing into quasi-god Dilin's mind. Swish! With a wave of his robe, Zhao Wang and all his spiritual pets vanished. Ooish! Zhao Feng also transformed into a streak of golden light that vanished into the distance. Dilin, I told you before, don't provoke this person. An elder immediately said. I didn't think that this person would be a beast tamer who could tame so many ancient beasts. Moreover, that black-robed man isn't simple either. He actually comprehended death intent to level 1. The other elder sighed. Such a young and powerful beast tamer was hard to find in the entire Gulong zone. All of you are truly trash. Quasi-god Lin clenched his teeth and angrily bellowed. If he had been accompanied by a rank 4 true god of his race or a rank 5 true god Tianhua, they would have definitely been able to capture Zhao Feng. Although he was furious when he thought back to Zhao Feng's cold eyes, quasi-god Lin felt fear in his heart. It was as if taking his life would be an extremely easy task. Let's go. Let's meet up with the main group of the Golden Jade race. Don't miss out on that incredible treasure. When the time comes, if true, God Tianhua is willing to take action, it will be extremely easy for you to take your revenge. The elder continued. He would not stop quasi-god Lin from taking revenge, but if he wanted to take revenge, he had to kill his opponent and put an end to any future troubles. After killing Shi Feng and escaping from the Golden Jade race, Zhao Feng continued on his way. Along the way, Zhao Feng encountered quite a few groups. These groups had a lot of people, and all of them had rank 3 true gods. There were even quite a few rank 4 true gods, and their goals seemed to be the same as Zhao Feng's. Ooish! Zhao Feng couldn't help but increase his speed. Several dozen days later, Zhao Feng arrived at a region of towering mountains. Zhao Feng discovered that all the nearby mountains were occupied by a group of people. Moreover, the space in this region was extremely unstable, greatly interfering with flight. The distant horizon was hazy and indistinct, making it impossible to see anything clearly. Ooish! Zhao Feng flew toward a low mountain. Master, you've come. The azure-robed elder respectfully said. Zhao Wan and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon were next to him. Upon arriving, Zhao Feng activated the see-through ability of the god's spiritual eye and peered into the distance. His gaze pierced through the chaotic streams of space. In the end, he saw a transparent palace that was only half complete. The other half of this palace was still hidden in the void. Chapter 1191. Everything here was done by the people of the space-time sacred land. Zhao Wan said as he looked into the distance. Only the experts of the space-time sacred land skilled in space intent could discover this treasure ground hidden in the void. But it was obvious that even with their abilities, they could not completely draw out this transparent palace. Fortunately, the palace was slowly emerging from the void on its own. There was not a single person within 10,000 li of the transparent palace. This was because the transparent palace was surrounded by terrifying spatial turbulence. Zhao Feng estimated that not even an ancient god expert would dare to recklessly approach, lest they be torn apart by the spatial turbulence. There weren't so many people originally because the experts of the space-time sacred land discovered this building and gathered all the people they could to guard this place, even preventing outsiders from approaching. Their actions only drew the attention of others. Zhao Wan had been here this entire time and had a good understanding of the situation. He added, later on, the people of the heaven-devouring sacred land also arrived. I heard that the two sides even clashed, and more experts were drawn over. Even though the two sacred lands have extremely high authority, they can't keep out all the other factions, resulting in the current situation. As Zhao Feng listened to Zhao Wan's explanation, faint golden ripples appeared in his eyes as he continued to stare at the transparent palace. Although the palace was transparent, each wall was a spatial barrier. The space within the palace was also extremely unstable, and many places were covered in tiny spatial cracks. It's all treasures. After observing for a long time, Zhao Feng sighed in amazement. The interior of the palace was decorated like an ordinary hall, but every piece of furniture and decoration inside looked extremely precious. This was only the result of Zhao Feng's vision. After all, he could not sense the qi of these items. And in the central hall of the palace was an unknown object shrouded in layers of space. Not even Zhao Feng could see its true appearance. Haha, this truly is a land of supreme treasures, but it's too difficult for Master to fish out even the slightest bit of benefit from it. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon faintly smiled, but it was also filled with yearning for the fortune within the transparent palace. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon couldn't see what was going on inside the palace, but with its experience, it knew that this was definitely a treasure ground. Once one obtained a great fortune inside, their entire life might change. However, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was too weak right now, so he didn't have much hope. That's not necessarily the case. Treasures are obtained by luck, in other words, opportunities and fate. Opportunities need to be grasped by oneself, while fate is predestined. Zhao Feng said indifferently. However, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's worries were correct. Every force gathered here was extremely terrifying. The top forces included the 2 God Realm Holy Lands and several large 5-star forces. Any one of these forces could easily annihilate Zhao Feng and the others. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's expression shook slightly. Zhao Feng's confidence and spirit made it feel inferior. If you had let me come here earlier and help me recover my strength, I might have been able to get some benefits this time. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon complained. You must have gained a lot from this trip, Zhao Feng said in a non-committal tone. With the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's abilities, it had definitely plundered many precious resources, yet it still dared to complain to him. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon could be considered a great help in this land of fortune, but it wasn't the main one. Swish! Zhao Feng waved his right hand, and Zhao Wang appeared next to him. Zhao Feng and Zhao Wang then entered Zhao Wang's little world within the misty spatial world. I'll help you control this divine weapon. Zhao Feng took out the Death Scepter from the God Eye dimension. If Zhao Wang could use this Death Scepter, not only would his own fighting power increase, it would also be a powerful trump card at a crucial moment that could turn the tides of life and death. Refine it. Zhao Feng handed the scepter to Zhao Wang. Bzzz. Zhao Feng activated his left eye and kept it locked onto the Death Scepter. If it made any strange movements, Zhao Feng would immediately take action. Whoosh! Zhao Wang circulated his Death Divine power and poured it into the Death Scepter to refine it. Buzz! Bzzz. The Death Scepter naturally knew what Zhao Wang wanted to do, and it immediately began to tremble to resist Zhao Wang's power and will. Tribulation, lightning, eye flame. Without another word, Zhao Feng decided to attack it first before anything else. 3 days later, Zhao Wang managed to establish a connection with the Death Scepter and successfully left a soul brand within it. Staff of Death Curse. Zhao Wang gripped the Staff of Death Curse, his body shrouded in black fog. Occasionally, he would let out a ghostly wail. Zhao Feng sensed that Zhao Wang's aura had suddenly increased several times. His body was shrouded in black fog, and his face was sinister and cold. He was like a shaman god of death, inspiring fear in others. Staff of Death Curse? That's its name? Zhao Feng's heart trembled. From its name, one could see that this scepter didn't just contain death intent, but also the even more profound and mysterious curse intent. I'll give this God's Sealing Stone to you. When you're not using this divine weapon, use this God's Sealing Stone to suppress it. Zhao Feng took out the largest piece of God's Sealing Stone and handed it to Zhao Wang. Although Zhao Wang had already refined the Staff of Death Curse, the Staff of Death Curse was also invisibly infecting and eroding Zhao Wang's mind and rationality. If not for the fact that the Staff of Death Curse was already extremely weak, Zhao Wang would have been completely demonized when he refined it. Perhaps even Zhao Wang's entire body would have been controlled by the Staff of Death Curse. Zhao Wang took the God-sealing stone and pressed it against the Staff of Death Curse. He immediately felt the evil thoughts in his heart weaken, and his mind turned cold. Pooh! Zhao Wang immediately sat down cross-legged and expelled the evil thoughts in his heart. At the same time, he used the Staff of Death Curse to cultivate and comprehend. Swish! Zhao Feng left Zhao Wang's misty spatial world. It won't be easy for the Staff of Death Curse to demonize Zhao Wang. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. The souls of Zhao Feng's 3 clones were connected to Zhao Feng's main body. If anything happened to Zhao Wang's soul, Zhao Feng and the other clones would be able to sense it. If the Staff of Death Curse wanted to completely erode Zhao Wang's consciousness, it would have to erode the consciousness of Zhao Feng and the other clones. It's time for me to break through. Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged in the cave. There were too many experts gathered in this land of great treasures. Zhao Feng had to break through to the demigod level in order to have a chance to compete with them. Otherwise, he would only be cannon fodder. Zhao Feng released the power of the little world and wrapped it around himself. Then he took out many precious materials and started cultivating. If one looked closely, they would discover that there were actually many people cultivating on these endless mountain peaks. Everyone realized that this land of great treasures was definitely extraordinary. Otherwise, how could the experts of 2 God realm sacred lands guard this place? In such a precious land of great treasures, only those who were strong enough would have a chance to fight for a few opportunities. Moreover, these endless mountain peaks were suffused with space intent, making them extremely suitable for comprehending space intent. Nearly 20 experts were seated cross-legged on the mountain closest to the transparent palace, all of them exuding powerful auras and extraordinary auras. Buzz, BZZ. These people were all shrouded in ripples of space. At the very front of these 20 people was a white-haired youth. The ripples of space intent on his body were the strongest and most obvious. BZZ. At a certain moment, a dark silver eye of nothingness formed behind the white-haired youth. Suddenly, the youth opened his dark silver eyes, and the eye of nothingness behind him became a little more condensed, exuding a dark silver luster. Layers upon layers of these deep eyes seemed to lead to an endless space. Quasi-God Kong Yuan, your space intent has reached level 4. You should be able to see what's inside that palace now. An elder with a profound aura behind the white-haired youth indifferently said, Level 4 space intent. Many of the experts present were flabbergasted. He was only a quasi-god, but his space intent had already reached level 4. Of the younger generation of the space-time sacred land, only quasi-god Kong Yuan had reached this level. I can see a little. The ground is covered in treasures, and most of them are space-type treasures. Quasi-god Kong Yuan's dark silver eyes began to flicker. Hearing those words, the people in the surroundings were extremely excited. On another precipitous mountain, not far from this one, were nearly 20 people. They were all rather tall, and many of them had strange black inscriptions on their faces. I didn't think that quasi-god Kong Yuan's space intent had already reached level 4. A middle-aged man sighed in shock. Space ultimacy was a kind of ultimacy that every expert would try to cultivate. Once they mastered this ultimacy, they could perform teleportation, great teleportation, and other supernatural abilities. Whether it was escaping, chasing the enemy, or hurrying along, it was very useful. It's rumored that quasi-god Kong Yuan's Eye of Space-Time bloodline is extremely pure, and he even received the guidance of a space-time god. A quasi-god of the heaven-devouring sacred land said. Even so, he's still no match for me. A cold and arrogant voice spoke out. It was as if these words were meant for quasi-god Kong Yuan to hear. None of the people present dared to retort. This was because the speaker was quasi-god Heaven Swallower, a quasi-god prodigy of the heaven-devouring sacred land. That's only natural. Space intent is used for traveling. How could it compare to senior brother's devouring intent? A youth immediately began to flatter. Suddenly, quasi-god Heaven Swallower sensed something and looked in a certain direction. On the other side, all the experts of the space-time sacred land had also noticed something. Kaboom! In the distant sky, the clouds churned as a massive warship 100 zhong long flew over like a bolt of lightning. At the front of the warship was a scholarly youth, a gentle smile on his face as he faced the fierce winds. What's that? What a massive warship! What faction is this? Many of the experts on the mountains were alarmed by this massive warship, their minds reeling in shock. As expected of someone from the Tianyin sacred land. Truly impressive. Quasi-god Heaven Swallower stood up, his eyes gleaming as he stared at the dark yellow warship. The Tianyin sacred land was a god realm sacred land established relatively late in the ancient desolate realm of gods. Although it was not as famous as the other sacred lands, it could not be ignored. Tianyin sacred land, quasi-god Si Kong. Quasi-god Kong Yuan indifferently said. Compared to quasi-god Heaven Swallower, he was more interested in quasi-god Si Kong. I was afraid that I would be too late, so I used a transportation tool. If I didn't get anything, I wouldn't be able to explain myself to Master. Quasi-god Si Kong nodded and smiled. His words and actions were casual and calm, completely different from the quasi-god prodigies of the other two sacred lands. At the same time, on a certain low mountain, the little world in which Zhao Feng resided suddenly exploded with dazzling golden lightning, exuding a throbbing ripple of divine power. Master is about to break through. The azure-robed elder rejoiced. With this breakthrough, Zhao Feng could be considered a quasi-god. The only question was what rank of true god he would have. Chapter 1192. This kid's fire intent has reached level 1. A rank 3 true god had a slightly angry expression on his face as he looked down on Zhao Feng with a condescending attitude. At a certain moment, the golden region of Zhao Feng's 5-colored sacred power vortex shone with a dazzling radiance. Zhao Feng condensed a pair of golden wings and shot off into the distance. The gap between us is very large, but I've only just reached the demigod level. There's still a lot of room for improvement. With a wave of his hand, massive figures appeared in the surroundings, all of them exuding ancient Yao Qi. Boom! Bang! Crash! More than half of the golden jade vortex was destroyed, and a destructive golden flame ignited the rest of the golden jade vortex. At this moment, a group rode over from the distance. At the very front of this group was quasi-god Di Lin, his cold and ruthless eyes staring at Zhao Feng. The 5 of them could at most catch the azure-robed elder. The other 3 simply couldn't catch up. On the summit of the mountain Zhao Feng was on, a young quasi-god arrogantly laughed. These golden jade symbols formed a vortex that shot toward Zhao Feng. The golden jade race only had a slight advantage, but now that Zhao Feng had released so many pets, although they weren't very strong, they were enough to change the course of the battle. Suddenly, Zhao Feng's group stopped. Jade incineration. Zhao Feng's body flashed as he attacked the rank 3 true god from another direction. Since you've taken out your divine weapon, let's end this battle. This phenomenon attracted the attention of the experts on the surrounding mountains, but when they saw that Zhao Feng was only breaking through to the demigod level, they ignored him. Tribulation, lightning, I flame. All the other beasts charged at the 2 true gods attacking the azure-robed elder. The rank 3 true god's body trembled in shock. Cackrack, sky-destroying sacred lightning palm. The azure-robed elder sighed helplessly. The people at his master's side all liked to play the pig to eat the tiger. Whoa! The azure-robed elder gave a faint smile as he respectfully said, "This was the unique characteristic of the immemorial blood devil's son, and it was also the strength of the first level of the profound meaning of fire." Zhao Feng scanned the area. The faction at the top of the mountain only had 9 people and 1 rank 4 true god. It was one of the weakest factions. Haha, you've only just become a half-deity, yet you dare to call yourself a quasi-god? Zhao Feng sighed from the bottom of his heart. If it weren't for the fact that his metal ultimacy had reached the first level for a long time, he probably wouldn't be a match for Zhao Feng. Whoosh! Even if he really ran over and killed Zhao Feng, he was afraid that he would only attract the ridicule of the surrounding forces. Compared to the forces here, Zhao Feng only had 4 people. It could be said that they were the weakest group here. The members of the Golden Jade race immediately gave chase. The 5 of them were rank 3 true gods. If they let the enemy escape, they would have no face to return. The rank 3 true god was stunned. Moreover, Zhao Feng's bloodline seemed to be stronger than his, and he cultivated a profound body-refining technique. Sigh. The rank 3 true god was struck dumb. Boom. Bang. Bang. However, the black-scaled rank 2 true god possessed a profound destruction intent. His attacks were fierce and tyrannical, completely suppressing the true god of the Golden Jade race. Of Zhao Feng's group of 4, Zhao Feng was the fastest, followed by Zhao Wan and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. It was actually the rank 3 true god elder in azure robes who was the slowest. The medicinal energy of the metal Dao cultivation resources was absorbed by Zhao Feng's body and channeled through his sacred energy into the sacred energy vortex. Zhao Feng still remembered that when he was fighting against true God Guisha, he found it hard to even take a single blow. He could only rely on his divine weapon or the god I-duplication to block. Quasi-god Di Lin gave a sinister smile. Quasi-god Di Lin flew toward the Golden Jade race group. Let's go. True god Tianhua. When we arrived, one of our members was killed by that golden-haired brat. You talk a lot of nonsense. The other 3 immediately followed Zhao Feng's steps. You want me, a rank 5 true god, to deal with a junior that just broke into the demigod level? After unleashing this move, Zhao Feng immediately used his Tribulation Lightning Eye Bloodline technique. The power of the Tribulation Lightning Eye Flame took effect first, bombarding the soul of the rank 3 true god and making it impossible for him to fight normally. Zhao Feng opened his bright eyes and softly muttered these 3 names. Destruction Dragon Breath. Bang! Bang! In a flash of scarlet lightning, Zhao Feng charged at the rank 3 true god. An unstoppable resolve appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Buzz! Illish! 3 true gods attacked Zhao Feng, Zhao Wan, and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, while the remaining 2 true gods attacked the azure-robed elder. On the other side, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had already killed the rank 3 true god. Zhao Wan was relying on the Myriad Forms dimension and the Eye of Myriad Forms to fight evenly with his opponent. The azure-robed elder had the help of many ancient beasts to force the 2 rank 3 true gods into desperate straits. After them, kill them all. He was far weaker than the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and after his breakthrough, Zhao Feng's strength was probably on par with his. If he used his trump cards, Zhao Feng would definitely be stronger. On the other side, the azure-robed elder truly was being suppressed by the 2 rank 3 true gods of the Golden Jade race, and Zhao Wan was also being slightly suppressed by a rank 3 true god. Zhao Wan immediately used his trump card, unleashing his Myriad Forms dimension to trap the rank 3 true god. Swoosh! 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 Zhao Feng inwardly rejoiced. True god Tianhua stood up, a dignified and furious expression on his face as he led all the members of the Golden Jade race away. Golden Light of Jade Law. The reason he was fighting with this rank 3 true god was purely because he wanted to test his strength after his breakthrough. The 5 of you, take care of them. Some people, because they were unable to make any progress, could only break into the heavenly divine realm and then slowly climb up. However, in the end, they still found it very difficult to climb over the threshold of the ancient god realm. Damn, it's so troublesome to kill this bunch of trash. The golden lightning slowly receded, and the concealment of Zhao Feng's little world also began to fade. With a wave of his golden fan, a dazzling golden storm of destruction swept toward Zhao Feng. Of Zhao Feng's group of 4, there was only 1 rank 3 true god, 1 rank 2 true god, and 2 demigods. 4-5 rank 3 true gods to deal with Zhao Feng's group of 4 was a bit of fuss. The Golden Jade race naturally would not let go of this chance and immediately attacked. The Jade incineration that Zhao Feng had duplicated began to furiously attack the rank 3 true god. This was also why so many people suppressed their cultivation and didn't directly attempt to break into the heavenly divine realm. Many precious cultivation resources of the Metal Dao floated in front of Zhao Feng. Fortunately, Zhao Feng had used his little world to conceal them. Otherwise, if other experts saw them, they would probably start fighting over them. A dazzling golden storm swept toward the rank 3 true god with a ferocious momentum that seemed capable of destroying all. "Come with me." Zhao Feng coldly snorted as he activated his sacred lightning body and activated the ancient blood devil sun bloodline. Jade incineration, and these prodigies could directly become rank 4 true gods, which meant that they had a higher chance of becoming ancient gods in the future. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon gave a cunning smile. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's lips as his left eye surged with astonishing eye intent. Boom! Hiss! A rank 3 true god of the Golden Jade race immediately called out. Quasi-god Di Lin walked up to true god Tianhua and faintly smiled. Zhao Feng ordered. Meanwhile, on the mountain where Zhao Feng was, the youth who had jeered at Zhao Feng once more laughed. "It seems like none of you will have a chance to see the treasures here." Zhao Feng's breakthrough into the demigod level truly had caused quite a stir, but were demigods of any use here? True God Tianhua sighed as he spoke to the 5 rank 3 true gods. Whoosh! Brat, just wait for your death. These 3 geniuses of a god realm sacred land were Zhao Feng's targets. If possible, Zhao Feng wanted to surpass them. What's going on here? Why are those with weaker cultivations so fast? Zhao Feng's body grew taller and began to exude dark golden lightning. He was then surrounded by a layer of scarlet blood yang flame, and he seemed to have become a different person. Although he was cultivating, he had split off a part of his mind to observe his surroundings. The 5 members of the Golden Jade race charged toward the mountain where Zhao Feng was. The rank 3 true god had a slightly angry expression, and a golden fan appeared in his hand. On a certain mountain, true god Tianhua was seated cross-legged in cultivation. When the rank 3 true god used this move just now, Zhao Feng had silently duplicated it. He had been storing it up the entire time, and only now did he unleash it. "You're a beast tamer." A storm of golden light surged through the world, accompanied by the crisp sound of shattering jade. But in the few short months he had spent in the ancient dream realm, Zhao Feng had already matured to the point where he could directly contend against a rank 3 true god. "Master, what do we do?" However, Quasi-god Di Lin gave a sinister smile, as if saying, "Just you wait." Quasi-god Kong Yuan, Quasi-god Heaven Swallower, Quasi-god Sea Kong. The resources and strength of any one of these 3 far surpassed Zhao Feng's. Zhao Feng estimated that if these 3 try to break into the heavenly divine realm, they would basically all become rank 4 true gods. The rank 3 true god activated his Golden Jade race bloodline and waved his hands. Countless Golden Jade runes appeared in the air. Kaboom! In this brief clash, the rank 3 true god of the Golden Jade race discovered that he could do nothing to Zhao Feng. This was the difference in talent. Swish! As expected of a quasi-god prodigy of a god realm, sacred land, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon did not hold back, activating a sliver of its bloodline power and circulating its origin destruction energy. God realm sacred lands were existences that ruled over 5-star factions. True God Tianhua angrily harumphed. "Kill! Ha! Master, you're playing dirty again. Brat, you were the one who killed the people of my Golden Jade race? Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation has advanced to become a quasi-god." However, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon also liked to play dirty. He could not expose his Destruction Dragon race bloodline in front of so many people. A huge scarlet lightning palm shadow bombarded the Golden Jade spiral vortex. Suddenly, he took out a message token. True God Tianhua paled and angrily bellowed, "These pieces of trash! Kill!" Even with his rank 5 true God strength, he did not dare to be careless in this place filled with precious treasures. This time, Quasi-God Lin did not act recklessly. Back then, Zhao Feng had only been one person, but he had already made them suffer. Now, there were 3 more people at Zhao Feng's side. Boom! Given Zhao Feng's strength, he only needed to break into the demigod level to become a quasi-god. How could this be? That's my technique. A member of the Golden Jade race angrily cursed. The azure-robed elder had an anxious expression. After breaking into the demigod level, I can directly contend against a rank 3 true god. BZ, Dingling, Bang. However, if Zhao Feng could kill a member of the Golden Jade race and leave, he was definitely no ordinary person. True God Tianhua had considered all aspects, so he had sent 5 rank 3 true gods. Kaboom! Zhao Feng activated the Metal Lightning Radiance Wings technique and dodged the attack. True God Tianhua was the only rank 5 true god of the Golden Jade race in this secret dimension. Even though Quasi-God Lin had a noble status, he still had to restrain himself in front of True God Tianhua. Now that he was a demigod, Zhao Feng wanted to see if he could fight against a rank 3 true god. Yes, Zhao Feng's expression chilled. The rank 3 true god in front of Zhao Feng had a grim expression. He understood that this person was not simple. Myriad Forms Dimension. Chapter 1193. The furious departure of the Golden Jade race had attracted the attention of the factions on the other mountains. For all the members of the Golden Jade race to go in another direction at this critical juncture was truly puzzling. Didn't the Golden Jade race send out 5 people to pursue those people? Why had they all gone over now? The youth who had mocked Zhao Feng twice on the mountain peak where Zhao Feng had been resting earlier said in surprise, "Shut up. No one who can come here is easy to deal with." The rank 4 true god of the youth's faction angrily rebuked. "True God Tianhua, what's going on?" Quasi-God Lin curiously asked. True God Tianhua had just received a message and immediately left with his group. The others had no idea what had happened. "Shut up. You talk too much." True God Tianhua fiercely glared at Quasi-God Lin and rebuked him. Seeing True God Tianhua so angry, the other members of the Golden Jade race did not dare to say anything else. But they quickly understood why True God Tianhua was so angry. "Save me." A weak, dark, golden soul body flew toward the Golden Jade race cultivators. Cackrack. A dreadful bolt of tribulation lightning struck the soul and completely obliterated it. The Golden Jade race group was dumbfounded. They had never imagined that they would see this sort of scene upon arriving. If you had come a little faster, you might have been able to save him. At this moment, Zhao Feng's carefree voice rang out in the ears of the Golden Jade race group. All the members of the Golden Jade race were stunned, their bodies trembling. The world around them seemed to freeze in their fury. "Zhao Feng, you dare to kill a member of my Golden Jade race?" Quasi-God Lin grimaced as he bellowed. Zhao Feng coldly glanced at Quasi-God Lin. Was this person an idiot? He had already killed him, so why was he still saying such stupid things? "True God Tianhua, save us." The voice of a true god of the Golden Jade race came from not far behind Zhao Feng. At this moment, only 3 true gods of the Golden Jade race were left attacking Zhao Feng's group. They were surrounded by the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, the Azure-Robed Elder, and many other ancient beasts. "You're seeking death." Real God Tianhua glared at Zhao Feng and asked directly. How could he not see that Zhao Feng had the ability to kill the 3 of them? However, he had imprisoned the 3 of them and lured all the members of the Golden Jade race over. This was the first time he had seen such a savage young man. True God Tianhua is truly righteous. He doesn't care about the lives of his clansmen to kill me. The corner of Zhao Feng's mouth curled up into a sinister smile. These words caused the 3 trapped true gods of the Golden Jade race to shiver as if they had been plunged into an ice house. The hearts of the other members of the Golden Jade race trembled slightly. True God Tianhua did not even care about the lives of 3 true gods. In the upcoming fight for the treasure, he would definitely not care about their lives either. True God Tianhua's eyes burned with killing intent. Zhao Feng was trying to drive a wedge between him and the other members. True God Tianhua was a rank 5 true god, so he naturally disdained to care about these low-rank true gods. However, there were far too many opponents in this fight for the treasure, and they were all from powerful factions. He needed to borrow the strength of his clansmen, perhaps even use their lives to pave the way for him. Since that's the case, I asked the friend hiding in the shadows to come out and lend me a hand. Zhao Feng turned his head, his gaze shooting into the depths of the ancient forest. This brat has helpers? True God Tianhua's eyes were as deep as still water. A blue-violet flame flickered in the depths of the ancient forest, and a woman wearing a blue-violet dress slowly emerged. He actually noticed me. Little Ling was rather angry. She had originally come here to inquire about the treasure, but she suddenly sensed a familiar flame energy. Following this energy, she discovered Zhao Feng. Thus, Little Ling hid in the shadows, waiting for Zhao Feng and the 5 true god experts of the Golden Jade race to mutually injure each other before attacking Zhao Feng and taking back the tail feather of the phoenix-tailed bird. To her surprise, however, Zhao Feng's group was so powerful that they were able to defeat 5 rank 3 true gods. Thus, she continued to hide until the main force of the Golden Jade race arrived. This force was extremely powerful, and there was even a rank 5 true god among them. Little Ling had just been worried that Zhao Feng would be killed by a rank 5 true god. But suddenly, Zhao Feng had exposed her hiding place. Since that's the case, I'll work together with him to win his favor and then wait for a chance to take the tail feather. Little Ling's lips curled into a smile. She felt that this was a very good plan. Whoosh! In a flash of blue-violet flame, a beautiful woman wearing a blue-violet dress landed at Zhao Feng's side. I didn't think that master would have a helper. The azure-robed elder was dumbfounded. So beautiful! Both friend and foe were instantly captivated by this woman's beauty and demeanor, and the tense atmosphere instantly vanished. Oomph! Little Ling snorted as she glared at Zhao Feng, and then she turned to the Golden Jade race group. Rank 4 True God. True God, Tianhua's expression darkened. Zhao Feng's group and their pets were already very powerful, and now they had an additional rank 4 True God. True God Tianhua was a rank 5 True God, while the rest of the Golden Jade race group consisted of rank 3 and rank 2 True Gods and Quasi-Gods. In a head-on clash, the Golden Jade race still had a higher chance of victory, but even if they won in the end, the Golden Jade race would have suffered grievous losses, making it impossible for them to participate in the struggle for the treasure. True God Tianhua, I believe that you are a reasonable person and will not let the entire Golden Jade race suffer for the sake of a piece of trash. Zhao Feng glanced at Quasi-God Lin. Trash! Quasi-God Lin's entire body trembled, his fists clenched so tightly that his nails dug into his flesh. In his entire life of cultivation, no one had ever called him trash. Your words are reasonable. As long as you release the 3 true gods of my Golden Jade race, I'll let this matter rest. True God, Tianhua's expression eased a little. The treasure was about to open, so how could he allow himself to be greatly weakened? It wouldn't be too late to take care of Zhao Feng after the fight for the treasure was over. I believe that True God Tianhua is a trustworthy person and will not deceive this junior. Zhao Feng faintly smiled and waved his hand. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and the others immediately released the 3 trapped True Gods. Let's go. True God, Tianhua's ruthless gaze swept over the 3 True Gods as he growled. Swoosh, swoosh. True God Tianhua led his group away from this place. Many thanks, miss, for saving us. This Zhao is endlessly grateful. At this moment, Zhao Feng turned to Little Ling with a warm smile. Zhao Feng had long ago noticed that little Ling had been hiding in the shadows. If Miss is willing, we can work together to fight for the treasure in the treasure zone. Zhao Feng extended an invitation. He had forced little Ling out precisely so that he could borrow her strength. Little Ling was taken aback. She was just about to say that she wanted to join Zhao Feng's group, but Zhao Feng had already extended an invitation first. She felt like Zhao Feng had seen through her. I've been following him in secret this entire time. He can't possibly know my true goal. Little Ling hesitated. Okay, I'm also very interested in the treasure zone. Little Ling's eyes flashed with determination as she agreed. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was stunned. Even it couldn't understand why this girl who had suddenly appeared would help Zhao Feng and even join Zhao Feng's group. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Zhao Feng's group followed the Golden Jade Race group back to the mountain range. Quite a few experts on the mountains near Zhao Feng and the Golden Jade Race were bewildered. They all knew that there was a conflict between the Golden Jade Race and Zhao Feng, and even the rank 5 true god of the Golden Jade Race had left in a rage. But now, the two groups had returned one after the other. This was a truly bizarre sight. However, those who were observant would realize that only 3 of the 5 rank 3 true gods that had pursued Zhao Feng had returned. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's group had gained a beautiful girl with an almost perfect appearance. Good sir, please do not take offense. The young man of my race spoke without thinking. At this moment, the rank 4 true god on Zhao Feng's mountain peak spoke. The young quasi-gods in his group had previously mocked Zhao Feng twice, but he had ignored them both times. But now that Zhao Feng had made the Golden Jade Race suffer a setback and added another rank 4 true god to his group, he finally spoke. The rank 4 true god led the others away from Zhao Feng's mountain peak. This one is Zhao Feng. It is truly a pleasure to be able to work with Miss. Zhao Feng warmly smiled. Little Ling also faintly smiled and prepared to exchange a few pleasantries with Zhao Feng. But Zhao Feng's next words caused her expression to abruptly change. Miss, did you come to take back the tail feathers of the phoenix-tailed bird? Zhao Feng stared at Little Ling as if he could see through her. You actually know? Little Ling was stunned. Since Zhao Feng knew her goal, why had Zhao Feng invited her to join his group? Little Ling sensed that the current situation was completely under Zhao Feng's control. Miss, ever since I left the phoenix nest, you've been spying on me. To be spied on by such a beautiful woman, this one feels rather embarrassed. Zhao Feng shamelessly said, What do you want? Little Ling's expression darkened, a hint of killing intent flashing through her eyes. Miss, don't get agitated. Be careful of your identity being exposed. Zhao Feng had a composed expression. The killing intent in Little Ling's eyes disappeared, and she gritted her teeth as she looked at Zhao Feng. This place was filled with experts from the ancient, desolate realm of gods. If her identity was exposed, everyone here would have a reason to attack her. This one just wants to work with Mississippi. If Miss helps me, you will be able to obtain many benefits yourself. After this matter is completed, I can return the phoenix tail to you. Zhao Feng had a serious expression. The bloodline power, origin flame, and medicinal effects of the phoenix tail had all been absorbed by Zhao Feng, so returning it to this lady was nothing. Little Ling stared at Zhao Feng and felt extremely depressed. She felt as if she had fallen into a trap. Okay, Little Ling thought for a moment before agreeing. If she refused, she might not even be able to leave safely. However, there was no harm in agreeing to Zhao Feng other than taking a bit of a risk. Whoosh! At this moment, in the distant horizon, the transparent palace caused a vast spatial storm. 2/3 of the palace was already exposed. These spatial ripples. 2 gigantic ancient beasts with dragon heads, deer antlers, and stocky waists covered in scales floated in midair. Come over here. What's going on up ahead? One of the black flame cheelants angrily glared at an ancient beast down below. It's a large number of humans have excavated a treasure ground hidden in space. This treasure ground is about to appear. The ancient beast's body trembled as it dropped to the ground. As an ancient beast, This was the first time it had seen such a powerful bloodline. Young master, there are many humans over there. It's best if we don't get involved. The other gigantic red Qilin with a reserved aura said faintly. You're a rank 7 ancient god. With you present, those humans are nothing. The black-flamed Qilin's eyes flashed with a savage light. True gods had 9 ranks, with rank 1 to rank 6 being true gods. This red Qilin was actually an ancient god above rank 6. Chapter 1194. Even if I'm willing to help you, with just the strength of the few of us, we will find it difficult to compete with the many factions present. Little Ling's gaze swept over the endless mountain range as she spoke bluntly. You don't need to worry about that. Zhao Feng's reply was simple and straightforward. I'm also thinking about my own life. Little Ling shot a vicious glare at Zhao Feng, and then she added, Let me tell you, you're not the only ones eyeing this palace. There are many ancient beasts hidden around this mountain range. The appearance of this palace had caused such a huge commotion that humans weren't the only ones rushing over. On the surface, the ancient races living nearby weren't a match for all the humans here, so they were hiding in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to strike. I know, Zhao Feng replied simply. In Zhao Feng's view, the more chaotic it was, the better. This way, it would be easier for him to find an opening. Little Ling was extremely angry at Zhao Feng's relaxed appearance. Was there really nothing that could shock or make this man panic? Just listen to my orders and do whatever I tell you to. Zhao Feng looked at Little Ling and seriously said. Little Ling wasn't Zhao Feng's servant, so Zhao Feng couldn't strictly restrict her actions. Then what about you? Little Ling suddenly thought of something and asked. I'll naturally be responsible for commanding you. Zhao Feng confidently said. What? You're telling us to take the risk while you hide by yourself? Little Ling's almond-shaped eyes widened in disdain for Zhao Feng's actions. She glanced at Zhao Wan, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and the Azure-Robed Elder. These 3 were weaker than her, but she had secretly observed the battle between Zhao Feng and the others. She knew that the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's bloodline was extremely terrifying and high, and Zhao Wan was a descendant of the Eye of Myriad Forms. Little Ling didn't understand why 2 people with such talent would follow Zhao Feng's orders. Don't waste words. There's still some time. Increase your strength and prepare yourselves. Zhao Feng was somewhat speechless. This beauty really had a lot of questions. At this moment, the azure-robed old man unleashed the power of his small world and took out a lightning whip to refine. He also had a divine artifact, but this one suited him better. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was also cultivating in its own little world to increase its strength. Only by becoming stronger would it have a greater chance of obtaining some treasures. Zhao Feng, on the other hand, was trying to comprehend the profound of space in the void. The profound of space was a profound that all experts would try to cultivate. Once they mastered this profound, they would be able to perform teleportation, great teleportation, and other magical abilities. Whether it was escaping, chasing after the enemy, or hurrying on a journey, it was very useful. Of course, apart from these, the profound meaning of space could also be used as an offensive ability. Its specialty was that it could ignore the void, making it impossible to defend against. My god spiritual, I has the ability to use space energy. It shouldn't be hard for me to comprehend space intent. Zhao Feng muttered in his heart. Last time, Zhao Feng was careless and was almost forced into a dead end by that true god expert who comprehended space intent. Therefore, Zhao Feng attached great importance to the space ultimacy. BZZ. A faint golden ripple appeared in Zhao Feng's left eye. A moment later, the world in front of Zhao Feng transformed into a world of golden particles. The ripples of space intent were even more clearly reflected in Zhao Feng's mind. On the mountain where the space-time sacred land was located, the eyes of 2 figures flashed. One of them was quasi-god Kong Yuan, while the other was a rank 5 true god of the space-time sacred land. Both of them possessed the eye of space-time. What a strange feeling. Quasi-god Kong Yuan inwardly muttered. Just now, he felt like someone was spying on him, and his eye of space-time had also rippled. Perhaps some other powerful god I descendant is hidden among these people. The elder indifferently said. The wild ancient secret dimension was a gathering place of geniuses and elites, so it wasn't strange for other god I descendants to come here. Whoosh! The only thing that could be heard was the sound of a massive spatial storm. Kaboom! Suddenly, a small portion of the transparent palace that was still hidden in the void rushed out of the void. Boom, boom, boom. The massive spatial gap unleashed a dreadful spatial storm. Many people were so far away that they were only blown a little by the spatial storm, leaving gruesome wounds on their bodies. There were also some people who sensed the dreadful spatial pull and immediately retreated. Whoosh! The massive spatial gap began to slowly close up, and the spatial turbulence began to weaken. The treasure is about to appear. At this moment, all the nearby experts stood up, their hearts thumping as they stared at the transparent palace in the sky. Gradually, the spatial storm around them weakened, and the scene inside the palace was reflected in everyone's eyes. Treasure. It's all treasure. Everyone's body trembled with excitement. This translucent palace is built in an extremely similar style to the space-time sacred land. The quasi-god prodigy of the Tianyun sacred land, quasi-god Si Kong, had an indifferent expression. Could this be a place where the Lord God once lived? A true god of the space-time sacred land exclaimed in awe. It was rumored that the space-time god lived in a spatial crack, wandering the void and comprehending space-time intent. This palace might have been the residence of the space-time god hundreds of millions of years ago. The items inside were originally ordinary, but because the space-time god had once lived here, these items were all imbued with time intent or space intent, reaching the divine level. Whoosh! The transparent palace floated in the air, exuding frightening spatial ripples. Even the people of the space-time sacred land did not dare to recklessly approach. The spatial ripples around the palace are too terrifying. If we're not careful, we might be killed by a spatial crack. An expert of the space-time sacred land said in alarm. Everyone else remained silent and watched. Although this treasure ground had appeared, no one dared to even approach it, much less enter it. On the mountain where Zhao Feng's group resided, swish, Zhao Wang emerged from the misty spatial world, his cold and gloomy eyes seething with death energy, staring at the sky. Meow. The little thieving cat also appeared on Zhao Feng's shoulder. It tossed out an ancient bronze coin as it stared at the transparent palace with its deep eyes. There's a helper. Little Ling's eyes flashed with surprise. Although Zhao Wang's cultivation level was not high, the death intent on his body was simply too frightening. Anyone who got the slightest bit closer would feel like their vitality was being drained away. The little thieving cat's aura was extremely strange. It was definitely not an ordinary creature, but little Ling could not tell what it was. Whoosh whoosh. All the experts in the world unconsciously floated upward so that they could get a closer look at the treasure within the palace. Let's go and take a look. Quasi-god Kong Yuan suddenly said. Swish, swish, swish. The experts of the space-time sacred land blinked toward the transparent palace, but they did not dare to take a single step in. Follow the people of the space-time sacred land. The people of the heaven-devouring sacred land and Tianyun sacred land immediately charged out. They could all tell that this palace was connected to the space-time sacred land. They could not rule out the possibility that the people of the space-time sacred land had some special method to enter the palace. Whoosh whoosh. The other experts in the world had also advanced a certain distance. Damn, this palace is filled with spatial cracks and spatial storms for 10,000 li. It's impossible to get close. A young quasi-god cursed. But at this moment, an item dropped down from the transparent palace. It was a white teacup, and it was rippling with space intent. A treasure dropped out. Hurry and take it. No one had expected for a treasure to appear in this manner. No one could enter the transparent palace, but the items inside were carried out by the spatial currents. Swish, swish, swish. The people of the space-time sacred land were the first to act. But suddenly, a spatial ripple appeared within the teacup, sweeping through the world. Wah, wah. The experts near the white teacup were pushed back in the air and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were filled with shock. Ha! Only the rank 5 true god of the space-time sacred land, his body rippling with space intent, forced his way up to the teacup. It can't be put into an interspatial dimension. The rank 5 true god slightly frowned. The ripples of space intent on the teacup were extremely intense, and his interspatial dimension was not high enough to put it into his interspatial dimension. The other method was to refine the teacup. Once he refined it, he would be able to control its power, and putting it into his interspatial dimension would not be difficult. However, refining a divine artifact required a very long time. Put down the treasure. The experts of the heaven-devouring sacred land charged in from several directions. At the same time, the people of the Tianyan sacred land did not fall behind. Boom, bang, crash. The teacup caused the experts of the 3 sacred lands to fiercely clash. A terrifying storm of energy swept through the world, striking fear into the hearts of the experts of the other factions. As expected of the people of the god realm, sacred lands, each one of them possesses extraordinary strength. That teacup is still unscathed in the midst of all this fighting. Countless experts watched the battle between the 3 god realm sacred lands as they slowly approached. They were still apprehensive of the 3 sacred lands, so none of them dared to make the first move. But at this moment, several more items dropped from the sky. Every drop of an item could attract many forces to fight over it. But to their annoyance, these items could not be directly put into their interspatial dimensions. The people of the 3 god realm sacred lands had grim expressions. This sort of overly chaotic situation was exactly what they did not want to see. Swish! The people of the other 2 sacred lands immediately left to fight over the other items. The 6 of you, go fight over the comb in the northwest. Listen to my orders and don't recklessly attack. Zhao Feng's voice suddenly rang out in the minds of the Black Destruction, Serpent Dragon, Little Ling, and the others. Little Ling turned her head, but Zhao Feng was nowhere to be seen. She had no idea where he was hiding. Let's go. The Black Destruction, Serpent Dragon roared as it charged forward with the others. At this moment, the 3 races fighting over the comb were in the middle of a fierce battle. Squelch! The dark yellow comb inadvertently unleashed a spatial spike that pierced through the chest of a rank 2 true god, killing him. How terrifying! The minds of the 3 races who were fighting shook. This seemingly ordinary comb was actually an offensive spatial divine artifact that could kill a rank 2 true god by relying on its own attacks. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and the others immediately joined in to help the weaker side weaken the fighting power of the other side. 200,000 Li underground. Zhao Feng's left eye flashed with a faint golden light, piercing through all and capturing the entire situation in the distant horizon. Zhao Feng had hoped that the fight over the treasure would be very chaotic, but he hadn't expected it to be this chaotic. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's origin dimension and the little thieving cat's stomach should be able to store these things. Zhao Feng estimated. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had an extremely noble bloodline. At its peak, it was a rank 6 true god, so its origin dimension was of an extremely high level. The little thieving cat was a complete anomaly. Its stomach was a bottomless pit that could swallow anything. Why haven't the ancient beasts hidden in the surroundings moved? Zhao Feng suddenly thought of a problem, and his mind trembled. Chapter 1195. The world boomed as countless intents attacked in a dazzling display. Several hundred experts with the strength of a true divinity were locked in battle. The terrifying collisions caused all the nearby mountains to be razed to the ground. 7 treasures had fallen from the transparent palace. The first was the white teacup, and the space-time sacred land had already obtained it. The comb that the Black Destruction Serpent Dragons group was fighting over was more ordinary than the other treasures, so there were fewer factions fighting over it. Swoosh! From time to time, the dark yellow comb would release several spatial spikes that rapidly shuttled through the void. However, the experts who were fighting were already prepared, and they all dodged. If we can get this comb, our fighting power will be greatly boosted. It'll be even more advantageous for us in the upcoming fight. A rank 5 true god with black skin and fiery eyes said, his face brimming with greed. This comb could easily kill a rank 2 true god with its own attacks. If it could be refined, just how powerful would it be? Wishful thinking. The other group that was fighting over the comb immediately rebuked him angrily. Everyone, we can work together to take this comb for now. The red-eyed rank 5 true god said to the Black Destruction Serpent Dragons group. Although the Black Destruction Serpent Dragons group had low cultivations, they were fairly strong, and he couldn't find anyone else to cooperate with. Okay, then we'll help Senior obtain this treasure. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon said with a smile. But in reality, all the factions here had their own ulterior motives, and everyone was well aware of this. Boom! Crash! The two sides fiercely clashed. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragons group only needed to hold down a small portion of the group, leaving the majority of the enemies to the red-eyed rank 5 True Gods group. Though-ish. In a silver-gray flash, the little thieving cat's dark golden dragon snake whip wrapped around the comb. Haha, bunch of idiots. The red-eyed rank 5 True God sneered. Kill them. The moment the little thieving cat obtained the comb, the other 3 factions immediately charged at the Black Destruction Serpent Dragons group. What's that thieving cat doing? Little Ling was instantly alarmed. Although the treasure was good, there were too many experts here. Whoever obtained the treasure would be attacked by the other factions. The rank 5 True God faction that had allied with the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon saw that they had obtained the treasure and immediately attacked. Meow meow. The little thieving cat grinned and waved the whip in its hand, throwing the comb to the side of another faction. Damn it, this stupid cat. The 3 forces gritted their teeth and cursed as they charged toward another direction. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and company continued to act. They only caused trouble and didn't take any treasures. 200,000 kilometers underground. Zhao Feng's gaze was deep as he observed the situation in the distant horizon. Let's make all the major forces hate each other first, and make the situation more chaotic. Zhao Feng smiled. Compared to the other items in the Transparent Palace, the first batch of items wasn't that valuable. Therefore, Zhao Feng did not plan to compete for it yet. What's that? Zhao Feng's gaze suddenly focused on the Transparent Palace. In the center of the Transparent Palace, a dark silver robe appeared in a shadow that was shrouded in layers of space. The robe was outlined with countless magical lines and runes that flickered with a silver luster. Xiao! The dark silver robe began to move on its own in the Transparent Palace. Pucci! A terrifying spatial gale blew on it. Bzzz! A layer of spatial ripples appeared on the dark silver robe, blocking the power of the spatial gale. This scene was naturally seen by most of the experts who were fighting in the outside world. What kind of treasure is that? It has intelligence and can move on its own. Spatial storms can't harm it in the slightest. The experts fighting below the palace felt their hearts thump. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, the dark silver robe began to recklessly charge around the palace. Spatial storms of various sizes battered against the silver robe, but none of them harmed it. On the contrary, some of the treasures in the palace were knocked away by the silver robe. What a powerful treasure! Everyone could see that this robe was the most intelligent treasure in the Transparent Palace. I have to get this robe. The rank 5 True God of the Spacetime Sacred Land had a ruthless look in his eyes. The Spacetime Sacred Land was most familiar with spacetime intent. Based on his judgment, this robe was probably the most valuable item in the palace. However, this item was not offensive, so outsiders would not be able to tell just how valuable it was. Boom! The robe caused the entire palace to slightly sway, and many of the items in the palace began to shake and drift. Whoosh! Whoosh! Even more items dropped out of the cracks in the transparent palace. Another batch of treasures dropped out. The quality seems to be even higher than before. The experts down below were all stunned, their bodies trembling as they prepared to fight for the treasures. Many of these treasures were flowers and grass, and they were very likely to be precious resources infused with space-time intent that could assist one in comprehending space-time intent. BZZ. One of the mirrors shot out a layer of spatial light that seeped into the air. In a flash, this part of the world was locked down, making it impossible for anyone to use space intent. That's the spatial lock mirror. An elder from the space-time sacred land stared at the mirror, his mind reeling in shock. The spatial lock mirror could lock down a part of the world, making it impossible for the opponent to use space intent. The people of the space-time sacred land were particularly afraid of this treasure. After locking down a part of the world, the spatial lock mirror fled into the distance. After it, we can't let the spatial lock mirror escape. 10 factions immediately began to chase after the spatial lock mirror, including people from the 3 sacred lands. After all, the spatial lock mirror was the highest quality treasure that had appeared so far. It was many times better than the teacups and combs from before. If they could control the spatial lock mirror's abilities, it would be much easier to seize the treasures in the future. Hurry! Seize the remaining treasures. The spatial lock mirror had attracted a large number of powerful factions, and the remaining factions were fighting over the other treasures. These treasures might not be on par with the spatial lock mirror, but they were still much more valuable than the first batch of treasures. Seize! The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon roared. There were many treasures in the sky, and the powerful factions and experts were all drawn over by the spatial lock mirror. Boom! Bang! Crash! 2 weak groups were currently engaged in a fierce battle over a silver flower. At this moment, a faint golden eye appeared in the sky above them, crackling with dazzling wind and lightning. It was cold and emotionless, seeming to stand side by side with the heavens as it looked down. The 2 battling groups instantly paled in fright, their bodies trembling as their souls were assaulted by an invisible force. Only the 2 rank 4 true gods remained relatively calm. Forbidden illusion, lost world. The enormous golden eye transformed into a limitless maze of violet and gold, exuding a fatal allure. All the experts of the 2 groups were bewitched by the powerful illusion Tao energy. Even the rank 4 true gods showed signs of struggle in their eyes. Swish! A vortex of eye intent appeared around the silver flower and engulfed it. A moment later, the golden eye of heaven in the sky also vanished. The 2 groups glanced at each other in shock, confirming that it wasn't the work of the other side. A genius of the space-time sacred land hiding in the shadows. A rank 4 true god said in surprise, and then he led his group to fight over the other treasures. Small factions like them naturally didn't dare to offend the people of a god realm sacred land. Underground, Zhao Feng gave a faint smile. In such a chaotic battlefield, even if he used the Eye of Heaven, no one would be able to tell who it was. Moreover, at this level, the abilities of the Eye of Heaven weren't all that shocking. If there were people from the space-time sacred land present, the majority of them would suspect the space-time sacred land's experts. The abilities of my Eye of Heaven seemed to have gotten much stronger, Zhao Feng said in pleasant surprise. This was the first time Zhao Feng had used the Eye of Heaven in the ancient dream realm. At this moment, Zhao Feng felt like he could borrow even more energy from the world to amplify the power of his eye bloodline techniques. The Eye of Heaven could amplify all of Zhao Feng's eye bloodline techniques to a certain extent, but in the ancient dream realm, this amplification was even greater. The ancient beasts are about to make a move. Zhao Feng's left. I sensed some activity in the distance and muttered. The source of the disturbance seemed to be the place where the 10 factions were fighting over the spatial lock mirror. That's Zhao Feng's eyes widened in shock, as if he had seen something extremely frightening. Boom! Bang! Crash! The 10 factions fought for the spatial lock mirror, causing the heavens to shake and the earth to dim. Broom! At this moment, the distant horizon began to tremble as a dreadful and vicious ancient energy soared into the sky. Careful! A powerful foe has appeared. The Tianyan Sacred Land's quasi-god, Si Kong, took a step back, no longer attacking. Swoosh, swoosh, 2 massive figures, one black and one red, charged forward. Boom! A dreadful intent caused the auras of all the experts fighting over the spatial lock mirror to freeze and their bodies to sink. Thoish! The red figure charged at the spatial lock mirror. Stop! A rank 4 true god from the heaven-devouring sacred land angrily roared as he attacked. Kaboom! A moment later, the red figure unleashed a beam of fire that engulfed the rank 4 true god. When the fire vanished, the person was no longer there. Hiss! The 100-some experts present felt their souls tremble in fear, their bodies going stiff as they stared at the red figure. Oh, whoa! This was an enormous flame Qilin. Its might overflowed into the heavens. Its sinister and terrifying face roared towards the heavens. Boom, boom, boom. The world rumbled, and the experts closest to the fire Qilin felt the boundless pressure of the flames. Their bodies and souls became scorching hot, and their bloodlines trembled as if they were about to burst out of their bodies. Plush! Those with strength lower than a rank 4 true god vomited blood. In the distance, the factions fighting over the treasure in the transparent palace were also affected by this invisible energy. Roar! As the fire Qilin roared, even more ancient beasts surged out from behind it. These ancient beasts weren't very strong, but their numbers were terrifying. However, everyone's eyes were still fixed on the red flame Qilin at the very front. Ancient God, the rank 5 true god of the Tianyan Sacred Land trembled. This powerful aura was undoubtedly that of an ancient god expert. It's actually an ancient god. Some of the experts from the 5-star factions were startled when they heard this. The prodigies of the 3 sacred lands all had grim expressions. This is the 125th ranked race of the 10,000 ancient races, the Blood Flame Qilin race. An ancient rank 4 true god recognized the true identity of these 2 ancient beasts. Ancient gods ranked in the top 100 of the 10,000 ancient races possessed terrifying strength. Chapter 1196. Rank 7 Ancient God. The experts fighting for treasure below the palace were struck dumb by this shocking news. Although ancient gods were also part of the 9 ranks of true god, the fact that they were classified as ancient gods meant that there was an enormous gap between those below and above the ancient god. In the major factions, ancient gods were supreme experts that could not be reached. At this moment, the red Qilin leading the ancient beasts in a wild ancient secret dimension was actually an ancient god and a member of the Blood Flame Qilin race. The red flame Qilin savage and blood-red eyes swept over all the experts present. Anyone who met its gaze felt their bodies tremble and their blood freeze. Whoosh! A surge of intent swept up the spatial lock mirror and tossed it to the black Qilin. This treasure isn't bad. The black Qilin took the spatial lock mirror, a smile on its face. The color of the blood flame Qilin's bloodline determined the color of their flames. This black flame Qilin's bloodline was clearly of a higher level. However, this black flame Qilin was rather small and only had the cultivation of a rank 4 true god. Young master, refine it, the red flame Qilin said. The faces of the 10 great powers that were fighting over the sky lock mirror were extremely dark. They had fought so fiercely, putting their lives on the line, but the red flame Qilin had taken the spatial lock mirror away the moment it appeared. Moreover, once the black flame Qilin refined the spatial lock mirror, they would be in an even more passive position. Everyone, if the ancient beasts are allowed to refine the spatial lock mirror, will be in a very dangerous situation. The rank 5 true god of the space-time sacred land messaged the experts present. That's right. Although the opponent is an ancient god, it's just one person. The rank 5 true god of the Tianyun Sacred Land said. All rank 5 true gods present. We must work together to deal with this ancient god expert, or else we might end up with nothing. The rank 5 true god of the heaven-devouring sacred land messaged the members of the ancient desolate realm of gods. In the current situation, they could only work together, all of them working together. However, the strength of ancient gods was deeply rooted in everyone's hearts. 4.5-star and peak rank 5 true gods were much weaker than the rank 5 true gods of 5-star and sacred lands. Moreover, they care more about their own lives and were unwilling to clash with ancient gods. In truth, if everyone is unwilling, our 3 sacred lands have a way to retreat. Quasi-god Si Kong of the Tianyun Sacred Land suddenly messaged. As soon as these words came out, the hearts of all the forces present shook. That's right, the God Realm Holy Lands had deep foundations. Even if they were to face an ancient god powerhouse, they still had the confidence to escape. In this way, the ones who suffered were the weaker forces. Gradually, all the experts of the ancient desolate realm of gods came to a consensus. All the rank 5 true gods would work together to deal with the ancient gods and ancient beasts with the strength of rank 5 true gods. As for the matter of fighting for the treasure, it was left to the younger generation and the real gods with lower abilities. Of course, the rank 5 true god had definitely discussed this with the true gods of his faction. When the time came, they would have to have a share of the spoils. A rank 5 true god was taking an enormous risk to hold back an ancient god and have them fight over a treasure. How could they not receive an equivalent reward? As for their gains, they could only depend on the quasi-gods and true gods of their factions. So. Any of the 10 factions that were not rank 5 true gods retreated. Behind him, all the rank 5 true gods were flying over. Kill! The Red Flame Chelan seemed to know what these people were planning and immediately attacked. Even though he was an ancient god, he was not invincible. Moreover, the rank 5 true gods that could come here were all rather strong, especially those from the 3 sacred lands with their deep reserves. The ancient beasts also sent several rank 5 true gods to help the Red Flame Chelan. The other ancient beasts and the Black Flame Chelan worked together to fight for the treasure below the palace. Go! The rank 5 true gods of the ancient desolate realm of gods worked together. Boom! Bang! Crash! The clash between the rank 5 true gods and ancient gods caused the heavens and earth to change color. The quasi-gods and true gods that were not participating in the battle could still feel the frightening ripples of intent and divine power from afar. Good. We've already gotten 3 treasures. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon grinned. One was in his origin dimension, while the other 2 were in the little thieving cat's stomach. The appearance of the Black Flame Chelan was actually a good thing for Zhao Feng's group, because their group never had a rank 5 true god. I didn't think it would turn out like this. Little Ling was moved. Once the rank 5 true gods no longer participated in the struggle for treasure, the weakness of their faction would decrease. Previously, they had been making trouble, but now they could directly compete with the other teams. Of course, there was still a massive gap between them and some particularly powerful teams. Scram, I, Quasi-God Heaven Swallower, have taken a liking to this item. A muscular man bellowed as he charged at a silver fruit. Boom! Every time his palms struck out, a black vortex would form that devoured all the nearby in 10 attacks. Scram! The experts of the heaven-devouring sacred land followed Quasi-God Heaven Swallower. My Quasi-God Heaven Swallower smoothly obtained a silver fruit. How about you give this treasure to this one? Quasi-God Sikong's tone was rather gentle. BZZE. The moment Quasi-God Sikong descended, the surrounding experts were immediately affected by a strange, intent energy, causing their attacks to instantly become extremely slow. This is fast and slow intent. A rank 4 true god called out in alarm. Fast in slow intent could change the speed of one's attacks so that they could be unleashed at the most opportune moment. At the same time, when fast and slow intent reached a certain level, it could even make the opponent's attacks move faster or slower. The Tianyan Sacred Land was one of the more unique sacred lands of the ancient desolate realm of gods. It accepted disciples without regard for bloodline, only talent. Moreover, the combat skills and techniques of the Tianyan Sacred Land were vast and profound, containing thousands of great Daos. For this reason, the Tianyan Sacred Land had all sorts of geniuses, each of them possessing supreme skills and extraordinary techniques. Haha, you people aren't that strong. The Black Flame Qilin led a large number of ancient beasts in charging in. Boom! The Black Flame Qilin activated its bloodline, and its body instantly grew taller. Its entire body seethed with black flames, and wherever it went, the flames would not be extinguished. Quite a few rank 2 true gods were touched by the Black Flame Qilin's flames, which instantly spread throughout their bodies and became extremely difficult to extinguish. The soul of an ordinary quasi-god was completely incinerated by these flames. This scoundrel's flames actually contained destruction intent. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon examined the Black Flame Qilin. The black flames of the Black Flame Qilin were extremely similar to the dragon flames of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. Of course, if their cultivations were the same, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's flames would be stronger. Whoosh! Several more treasures dropped from the palace above, and these treasures all seemed to have a mind of their own. As they fell, they began to scatter in all directions. Bzzz. Suddenly, a massive dark silver eye appeared in the sky. It seemed to be embedded in space, and it began to rapidly move. Swallow. This dark silver eye swiftly moved to a brush, and a spatial crack opened in the eye, exuding a powerful suction force that began to pull at the brush. Buzz. Bzzz. This brush was also a space-type treasure, and it did its utmost to resist. Go! Several experts of the space-time sacred land rushed over and unleashed spatial palms. Boom! The brush was pushed by the spatial energy and was sucked into the spatial crack. Whoosh! The massive silver eye suddenly vanished. As expected of quasi-god Kong Yuan, to think that he would use such a method to steal treasures. Quasi-god Si Kong said with praise. Hiding in the shadows like a turtle, quasi-god Heaven Swallower disdainfully said. He had originally planned to fight with quasi-god Kong Yuan, but the situation was too chaotic. Even though he knew about the Eye of Void, he still couldn't sense where quasi-god Kong Yuan was hiding. The Eye of Void was a technique that quasi-god Kong Yuan could use through space using the space intent of the Eye of Spacetime. No one knew where quasi-god Kong Yuan was hiding. At this moment, in a place extremely far away from the transparent palace, an invisible figure was hidden in the void. What a powerful offensive spatial divine artifact. Quasi-god Kong Yuan carefully examined the brush in his hand. Not even the offensive divine weapon in his hand contained as much space intent as this brush. Buzz. Bzzz. Quasi-god Kong Yuan circulated a sliver of divine power and soul energy to slowly refine the brush. But the majority of his mind was still focused on observing the sky. The space-time robe. I wonder if I can obtain it. Quasi-god Kong Yuan's gaze fell on the dark silver robe in the transparent palace. Only an extremely small number of experts in the realm of gods knew about the secrets of the space-time robe. The majority of the people present had no idea what it was, but as a top-class genius of the space-time sacred land, quasi-god Kong Yuan knew a thing or two. If I can obtain the space-time robe, the path to ancient god will be much easier, and my chance of becoming a god lord will increase. Quasi-god Kong Yuan deeply desired the space-time robe. However, the space-time robe was currently floating around the transparent palace, and quasi-god Kong Yuan did not dare to approach the palace. Thus, he could only wait for the space-time robe to come out on its own. That golden eye. At this moment, quasi-god Kong Yuan noticed that an enormous golden eye had appeared in the sky. This eye of heaven was even larger than his eye of void, and it was even more focused. It was extremely fused with the world and exuded a monstrous aura. A golden eye, the eye of destruction? But how can the eye of destruction use space intent? Quasi-god Kong Yuan fell into deep thought. In the face of this golden eye, even the eye of space-time that quasi-god Kong Yuan had always been so proud of felt a little throbbing. It seems like there's an incredible genius hiding in the shadows. It's probably someone from the Tianyun sacred land. Quasi-god Kong Yuan muttered to himself. The Tianyun sacred land had all sorts of geniuses. Although the Tianyun sacred land had been established rather late, it was not to be underestimated. It wouldn't be long before it surpassed the majority of God Realm sacred lands. It's that golden eye again. Damn, is he really someone from the space-time sacred land? This golden eye had already appeared several times by now. Moreover, this golden eye was extremely powerful. Physical attacks had no effect on it, and only the soul attacks of rank 4 true gods could shake it. This treasure seems to be an interspatial dimension. Quasi-god Kong Yuan's eyes locked onto a silver bracelet. The treasures obtained in this place normally couldn't be stored in an interspatial dimension, and there was no time to refine them. However, if one obtained a divine artifact in an interspatial dimension, they only needed to refine it to be able to store the treasures they obtained in the future. Buzz. BZZ. An enormous dark silver eye appeared in the interspatial dimension. Quasi-god Kong Yuan is taking action again. An expert who was about to fight for the silver bracelet side. But suddenly, an enormous golden eye slowly appeared on the other side of the silver bracelet. Their appearance was like the heavens had opened their eyes. Two terrifying energies of different natures exploded outwards. Several experts couldn't help but retreat. They didn't dare to fight against the heavens. Chapter 1197. The two eyes embedded in the world simultaneously stared at a silver bracelet. That terrifying pressure caused the nearby experts to retreat one after another. So this golden eye doesn't belong to the space-time sacred land? Quasi-god Heaven Swallower was rather surprised. He had always believed that this golden eye belonged to someone from the space-time sacred land. Only when the golden eye clashed with quasi-god Kong Yuan's dark silver did he realize that he was wrong. The other experts fighting over the treasure had the same thought as quasi-god Heaven Swallower. Since this golden eye isn't a genius of the space-time sacred land, who is it? Who dares to fight over treasure with quasi-god Kong Yuan of the space-time sacred land? A quasi-god prodigy revealed a look of surprise. Who is it? Who dares to oppose quasi-god Kong Yuan of the space-time sacred land? The true god of the space-time sacred land growled. However, he didn't care. Quasi-god Kong Yuan was the strongest rank 4 quasi-god of the space-time sacred land. That golden eye was simply seeking death. Whoosh! A spatial passageway suddenly opened up in the silver eye, creating a powerful suction force that tried to suck the silver bracelet into it. BZZ. A whirlpool of water appeared in the golden eye, and a ripple of eye bloodline intent appeared on the silver bracelet. Whoosh whoosh. Spatial blurs appeared in the silver eye, filling the air. BZZZ. When this spatial blur swept past the ripple of eye bloodline intent, the space intent contained in the whirlpool was immediately thrown into disorder, and the whirlpool began to twist and distort. The other experts fighting over treasure were affected by the image of the dark silver eye, making it impossible for them to use their space intent. Quasi-god Kong Yuan has the eye of space-time and an extremely thick bloodline. This brat wants to oppose quasi-god Kong Yuan, but he's just asking to be humiliated. The factions that had their treasures stolen by the golden eye immediately jeered. Quasi-god Kong Yuan space intent has reached level 4. If this golden eye thinks that it can take away the treasure under the gaze of the Eye of Void, It's nothing more than a pipe dream. The true god expert of the space-time sacred land chuckled. 200,000 li underground. Zhao Feng gave an awkward smile. Originally, Zhao Feng didn't want to make an enemy of quasi-god Kong Yuan, but Zhao Feng very much wanted to see what the Eye of Space-Time was capable of, so he used the Eye of Space Transference to take treasures from right under Kong Yuan's nose. Quasi-god Kong Yuan's space intent has reached an unimaginable level. My Void Devourer is of no use against him. Zhao Feng knew himself. Let's play with him some more. Zhao Feng suddenly revealed an evil smile. No one present knew who was opposing quasi-god Kong Yuan, so Zhao Feng decided to use his true abilities to play around with this Eye of Void. Hoo-hoo! In the void, the crack in the middle of the silver, I produced a huge suction force that pulled the dark silver bracelet over. The golden eye on the other side suddenly blazed with terrifying purple flames of lightning and eye intent that made one's heart shake. Boom! A translucent purple-gold thunderfire with a destructive aura of tribulation lightning exploded on the dark silver eye. Buzz! BZZ! The dark silver eye trembled as it flickered back and forth between reality and illusion. The spatial path in the eye was forced to close. What a powerful eye bloodline technique. Quasi-god Kong Yuan's eyes focused. The Eye of Void was an eye that he could use with the space intent of the Eye of Space-Time. It contained his intent, so soul attacks were effective against it. This person's eye isn't skilled in space intent, but it's skilled in soul attacks. Quasi-god Kong Yuan muttered. In contrast to Zhao Feng, Quasi-god Kong Yuan's Eye of Space-Time was skilled in space intent, not soul attacks. Buzz! BZZ! In the sky, the dark silver eye suddenly became extremely solid. It was clear that quasi-god Kong Yuan was extremely serious and prepared for battle. BZZ! Space intent flowed through the dark silver eye, forming several spatial blades that slashed at the golden eye. Quasi-god Kong Yuan is counterattacking. These spatial blades can easily kill a rank 3 true god. A true god expert called out in alarm. Swish! The moment the spatial blades were released, they directly pierced through the golden eyes. Buzz! BZZ! The golden eye faintly trembled, but nothing else happened. It didn't have much effect on the golden eye. A quasi-god called out in alarm. The golden eye is constructed differently from the silver eye. The golden eye is made up of soul energy, so physical attacks don't do much damage to it. The rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land immediately said. Moreover, in his view, the golden eye was more compatible with the world around it. An attack of space intent has affected the soul and caused some damage to me. Zhao Feng's expression did not change. His soul defense was extremely strong, so this little damage was nothing to him. Quasi-god Kong Yuan saw that his attack hadn't done much damage to the golden eye and began to circulate his space intent. Buzz! BZZ! The dark silver eye caused space itself to tremble. Multiple images appeared in the air, causing the entire region to become extremely unstable. This move should work, Quasi-god Kong Yuan muttered. Since the golden eye was embedded in the space of the world, he would use space intent to destabilize the entire space so that the golden eye couldn't stand in this space. I won't be polite either. Zhao Feng naturally knew what quasi-god Kong Yuan was doing. However, Zhao Feng's Eye of Heaven was extremely compatible with the ancient dream realm. This was Zhao Feng's world, so even if quasi-god Kong Yuan disturbed this space, Zhao Feng's Eye of Heaven would still be able to stand. At most, its power would be a little weaker. Tribulation, lightning, eye flame. In the sky, the golden eye of heaven began to crackle with white gold lightning, exuding a dreadful aura of destruction. Cackrack! A ball of amethyst, lightning flames exploded on the dark golden eye. Crackle! Hiss! In a flash, the dark silver eye was filled with tribulation lightning. The powerful destructive tribulation lightning energy passed through the Eye of Void and struck quasi-god Kong Yuan's soul body. Oomph! Quasi-god Kong Yuan grunted as his soul was bombarded by tribulation lightning energy, causing him to close his eyes. At the same time, the silver eye in the sky disappeared. It's useless. Quasi-god Kong Yuan was flabbergasted. He could affect the entire space around him, but he was unable to do much to the golden eye. Moreover, the opponent's soul attack was extremely terrifying. BZZ's wind lightning energy surged around the golden eye, as if announcing its victory. Swish! A ripple of spatial intent sucked in the silver bracelet. What? Quasi-god Kong Yuan lost. The members of the space-time sacred land were flabbergasted. In the match between the two eyes of heaven, it was quasi-god Kong Yuan who was defeated. How could this be? Could there be another eye user present that was even stronger than quasi-god Kong Yuan? They had originally believed that quasi-god Kong Yuan would definitely win in the match between the two eyes, so none of them took action. But the result completely overturned their understanding. Interesting. Quasi-god C. Kong stared at the golden eye of heaven, a profound smile on his face. It was able to gain an advantage against the descendant of one of the 8 great god eyes, but it also didn't seem to belong to the 8 great god eyes. Just who was the owner of this golden eye? Quasi-god Heaven Swallower's eyes exuded a cold and harsh light as he scanned the area, but he discovered nothing. Although a match between two eyes could not represent the strength of the two sides, it was still inconceivable that someone could defeat quasi-god Kong Yuan in eye bloodline techniques. As expected of the 9th god eye, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon naturally noticed the clash between the two eyes. It hadn't expected for Zhao Feng to defeat quasi-god Kong Yuan. Victory! Zhao Feng gave a smug smile. Although Zhao Feng had won, that didn't mean that he was a match for quasi-god Kong Yuan. After all, in the ancient dream realm, Zhao Feng's Eye of Heaven could use all eye bloodline techniques to their fullest potential. The Eye of Spacetime did not have this privilege. In addition, the Eye of Spacetime was primarily used in battle to control and use space energy, not in a contest of eye bloodline techniques. Zhao Feng began to refine the interspatial dimension, while he used the rest of his mind to observe the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's group and use the Eye of Heaven to steal other treasures. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's group had the rank 4 True God Little Ling. As long as they didn't run into a particularly powerful group, they would basically be safe. When Zhao Feng used the Eye of Heaven, he would also inadvertently help the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's group. After the clash of the two Eyes of Heaven, they no longer intersected. After all, the most important thing right now was to fight over the treasures, not to fight to the death for a moment of pride. But as the golden eye moved, everyone became even more curious. Just who was the owner of this eye? Steal the treasures of the golden jade race. Zhao Feng's voice resounded in the souls of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's group. Understood. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon gave a cunning smile. The Golden Jade Race's sole rank 5 True God Tianhua, was fighting with a red flame Qilin. The strongest of the remaining members of the Golden Jade Race was only a rank 3 True God. At this moment, the Golden Jade Race was fighting with 2 other groups over a painting. The painting would occasionally release a few scenes that would immerse one in a wondrous world of illusion. Got it. In the end, all 3 groups were heavily injured, and the Golden Jade Race had obtained a painting. The other 2 groups joined together in hot pursuit. Run! After obtaining the painting, the members of the Golden Jade Race decided to retreat and refine the painting before participating in the fight. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's group blocked the path of the Golden Jade Race. Where do you think you're going? The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon angrily roared, its dreadful bloodline pressure causing all the members of the Golden Jade Race to tremble. It's you. The members of the Golden Jade Race naturally recognized the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's group. With the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's group blocking the Golden Jade Race, the other 2 groups immediately caught up. Kill! The 3 groups of people charged out. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's group naturally did not use their full strength, and they even attacked the other 2 groups. In the end, the Golden Jade Race suffered heavy casualties, and the other 2 groups were not much better off. Meanwhile, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragons group successfully obtained the painting. Damn, Quasi-God D. Lin was furious. If he had known earlier, he would have never offended Zhao Feng. Broom. At this moment, the transparent palace above them began to fiercely shake. Boom, boom, boom. Within the palace were 4 dazzling treasures, brimming with spirituality and rampaging about. One of them was the space-time robe. Everyone present understood that these 4 treasures were the most precious treasures in the palace. An extremely small number of people recognized 1 or 2 of them, but they would definitely not say who they were. All of them had decided on one of the treasures as their ultimate goal. Bang! Crack! The cracks on the palace grew even more numerous, and it seemed like it would shatter at any moment. Chapter 1198. Underground. Zhao Feng had successfully refined the treasure he had taken from quasi-god Kong Yuan. Putting on the silver bracelet, Zhao Feng placed the treasure he had taken from quasi-god Kong Yuan into it. Whoosh! Zhao Feng leaped out of the earth. Using the space transference I continuously earlier had consumed a great deal of Zhao Feng's energy. Once he used up all his soul and eye bloodline energy, he would no longer be able to use the god's spiritual eye. Swish! Swish! Zhao Feng unfurled his golden wings and flew to the Black Destruction Serpent Dragons group. Preserve your strength and prepare to fight for the treasures. Zhao Feng's voice resounded in everyone's minds. Everyone nodded their heads. Originally, obtaining 1 or 2 treasures would have been quite good, and no one had even thought about the most precious treasure in the Transparent Palace. However, the arrival of the Red Flame Qilin had held down all the rank 5 true gods, reducing the disadvantage of Zhao Feng's team and allowing them to reap a bountiful harvest. They also had a chance to participate in the even more important treasures. At this moment, everyone could sense that the transparent palace in the sky could shatter at any moment. When the time came, all the treasures would fall to the ground. Zhao Feng's team mingled in the chaotic crowd, occasionally fighting over treasures with the weaker teams. They were not using their full strength, instead quietly recovering the energy they had expended. Zhao Feng didn't even use his eye in this battle. His sacred lightning body and lightning fire obliteration were enough to crush a normal rank 2 true god. Big brother, I see Zhao Feng. Hu Qing suddenly saw the nearby Zhao Feng and called out to his big brother in surprise. The blue-scaled race originally had no plans to participate in the fight for the treasures, but before the transparent palace opened, they happened to run into another team of their race, one of which was a rank 4 true god. For this reason, the blue-scaled race decided to try their luck. However, while the rank 5 true god was being held down, their team had more people and obtained quite a few divine artifacts and treasures. Quasi-God Lan Yi. Zhao Feng is over there. The Hu brothers immediately said to Quasi-God Lan Yi. The Hu brothers didn't have any status in the team, so they could only mobilize Quasi-God Lan Yi. Lan Yi had previously made a 3-move bet with Zhao Feng and lost miserably in the end. Perhaps Lan Yi wanted to kill Zhao Feng more than they did. Haha, it's really that kid. Quasi-God Lan Yi gave a savage smile, his killing intent surging. Afterward, Quasi-God Lan Yi began to communicate with the experts in the group. Apart from Wei Ku and Ma Lingshi, none of the Quasi-God experts in the group dared to go against Quasi-God Lan Yi. The majority of the true God experts also stood on Quasi-God Lan Yi's side. In the end, the blue-scaled race team decided to attack Zhao Feng and the others. You 2 traitors! A rank 3 true god angrily cursed. He was naturally referring to Wei Ku and Ma Lingshi. Kill them all. The eyes of the rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race chilled. So. Close to 16 experts of the blue-scaled race charged menacingly at Zhao Feng's team. The people of the blue-scaled race run. Zhao Feng sensed that something was wrong. The blue-scaled race had too many people, and they even had a rank 4 true god. Zhao Feng naturally wouldn't fight them head-on. Swoosh, swoosh. Zhao Feng's group fled into the distance. Little Ling, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and Zhao Feng were the fastest, followed by the azure-robed elder and Zhao Wan, and finally Zhao Wang. Of course, Zhao Wang was also rather fast, but he was far from being able to keep up with the other members of the group. Swoosh, swoosh. Where do you think you can run to? The rank 4 true gods and a small number of experts of the blue-scaled race were extremely fast, and they slowly approached Zhao Feng's group. The majority of the weaker experts were left far behind. For example, Wei Ku and Ma Lingshi were weaker in the first place, and they weren't willing to chase after Zhao Feng, so they stopped midway. Zhao Feng, obediently come up and die. We can let the others in your group go. Quasi-God Lan Yi gave a wicked smile. The other experts of the blue-scaled race nodded their heads. Quasi-God Lan Ye's plan was extremely clever. In the face of life-or-death danger, even the best of friends could betray one another. But to the surprise of the blue-scaled race, the members of Zhao Feng's team acted as if they hadn't heard this and didn't slow down in the slightest. Whoosh whoosh. After a short chase, 6 members of the blue-scaled race were the fastest to reach Zhao Feng's team. Die! The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race attacked Zhao Wang, who was at the very back. Ooish! He brandished his sword, and a huge blue sword edge swept forward, stirring up a shocking wave. From a distance, this slash was like a tsunami that could devour and destroy all. Whoosh! Little Ling suddenly turned around and attacked in Zhao Feng's team. Kaboom! The blue-purple flames in the sky instantly condensed into countless thin threads that weaved into a massive net of fire. Boom! Bang! Crash! Fire and water intertwined as the attack of the rank 4 true god was neutralized. Lady is as beautiful as a flower and quite strong. Why don't you work with the blue-scaled race? A rank 3 true god of the blue-scaled race fearlessly roamed his eyes over Little Ling's body. But a moment later, the 6 members of the blue-scaled race, including the rank 4 true god, were all stunned. All the members of Zhao Feng's team suddenly turned around and began to attack. Little Ling, Zhao Wang, the two of you deal with the rank 4 true god. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and I will quickly kill the rank 3 true god. The rest of you will hold down the other members of the blue-scaled race. The moment they began to move, Zhao Feng gave the order. Only 6 members of the blue-scaled race had caught up, so Zhao Feng's team definitely had the ability to fight back. This battle might even change the entire situation. Swoosh, swoosh. Zhao Feng moved with incredible speed, and he and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon charged at a rank 3 true god. Clink clang. A black metal sword appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. It was the transformed ancient god seal. Die! Zhao Feng circulated the lightning fire obliteration and slashed out a dark golden ripple. Destruction Dragon Blast. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon circulated its origin destruction energy and used a killing move. Boom! Bang! Crash! The two of them attacked with lightning-fast speed. Before the rank 3 true god could react, he was struck by 2 dreadful attacks. Kill! Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had powerful bodies, so they disregarded everything else and charged forward. Flame Slash. Little Ling waved her hands, sending countless threads of flame toward the rank 4 true god. Child's Play. The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race swung the sword in his hand, unleashing one enormous sword of green water after another. Whoosh! Zhao Wang attacked the rank 4 true god from the side. A trifling quasi-god is truly seeking death. The rank 4 true god couldn't help but jeer. Such a weak quasi-god was simply incapable of injuring him. Swish! A pitch-black staff suddenly appeared in Zhao Wang's hand, exuding a thick death energy that instantly caused the surrounding world to darken. This death energy, the rank 4 true god's body instantly trembled. This dreadful and evil energy made him feel like he was in mortal danger. Black Hole of Death. Zhao Wang gripped the Staff of Death curse and activated the Eye of Death. Ooish! The eye on the Staff of Death curse resonated with the Eye of Death and shot out a black mist. This black mist was evil and frightening, suffused with an intent energy that made one's heart shudder. Boom! The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race was caught off guard and struck by the black mist. The black mist instantly transformed into a pitch-black hole that began to suck in the rank 4 true god's life and soul. Boom! The rank 4 true god burned his divine power, exploding with astonishing intent energy as he retreated. The rank 4 true god's arm was completely devoured by the black hole, and his life and soul were also severely injured. Moreover, he sensed that his body was surrounded by an untouchable curse energy. Just what kind of energy is this? The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race stared in fear at Zhao Wang. However, Zhao Wang had already put away the Staff of Death curse. After all, this divine artifact was comparable in quality to the supreme treasures of the transparent palace and could not be recklessly exposed. On the other side, Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had worked together to kill a rank 3 true god. All of this had happened in less than 2 seconds. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, the other experts of the blue-scaled race arrived. How could this be? Hu Cheng was alarmed. When they arrived, they saw that the rank 4 true god of their race had lost an arm, and the rank 3 true god had been killed. Meanwhile, Zhao Feng's group had gathered together, calm and composed. They faced the blue-scaled race, neither fleeing nor panicking. Let's go. After a few moments of stalemate, the rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race clenched his teeth and said, his wounds weren't as simple as losing an arm. His soul and life were eroded by the death power, Upanishad. Moreover, he was entangled by the power of the curse. His condition had been reduced to the lowest level. If he didn't recover in time, his injuries would only worsen. Moreover, he was somewhat afraid of the divine artifact that Zhao Wang had just taken out. In addition, the supreme treasures of the transparent palace could appear at any moment. He needed to recover his strength as quickly as possible so that he could fight back. Not kill them. Quasi-God Lan Yu was flabbergasted. A rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race had actually retreated? Just what had happened just now. The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race angrily snorted, and the energy of the world rumbled toward Quasi-God Lan Yu. Thump thump. Quasi-God Lan Yu was forced back 2 steps, and then he lowered his head and fell silent. Broom! At that moment, the transparent palace in the distant sky exploded. Kaboom! A terrifying spatial storm swept through the surroundings, causing the world to twist and distort. All the experts fighting over the treasures were stunned. Even the distant red flame Qilin and the rank 5 true god paused for a moment. Whoosh! Several rays of silver light shot out from the shocking spatial storm. The fact that these treasures could remain unscathed in the destructive spatial storm was undoubtedly proof of their quality. Of these silver beams of light, for the most dazzling, exuding astonishing ripples of energy. The supreme treasures, the true supreme treasures have appeared. The small groups fighting over the treasures down below instantly began to stir. The space-time robe. Quasi-God Kong Yuan's eyes locked onto a dazzling beam of light, a dark silver robe. The Heaven Yuan stone plate. Quasi-God Si Kong of the Tianyan Sacred Land was also looking at a supreme treasure. This was an ancient gray stone plate, its surface covered in profound and cryptic inscriptions. Not good. The supreme treasures have appeared. The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race was seething with rage and hatred. Quasi-God Lan Ye's personal affairs had left him heavily injured, so he probably wouldn't be able to obtain the supreme treasures. Master, which one should we go for? The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon asked, its heart thumping. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon only knew that 4 of these supreme treasures were the most precious, but it didn't recognize any of them. Chapter 1199. Wait for an opportunity. Zhao Feng calmly replied. It wasn't as if Zhao Feng could get his hands on any one of them. If he wanted to fight for something, it would naturally be easier to get his hands on it. Whichever treasure they had the highest chance of obtaining, they would fight for it. Besides these 4 treasures, several other treasures of similar quality to the spatial lock mirror had also fallen. Let's go. The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race led his clansmen away. He had no chance of fighting for the treasures, and the treasures 1 level lower were also extremely precious to him. Whoosh whoosh. In a flash, 70% of the teams charged upward. The majority of the teams were aiming for the 4 treasures. The others believed that they couldn't obtain any of the treasures, so they set their sights on the treasures that were second only to the treasures. A small portion of the teams remained on the sidelines. Just what kind of divine artifact is this? A small team recklessly approached a silver longsword. Even from a distance, they could sense the powerful sword intent exuding from the silver sword. Delish. The silver sword suddenly changed its direction and charged towards the team. When the tip of the silver sword was aimed at this team, everyone in the team instantly felt like they were in a world of swords, the air suffused with boundless sword intent. Swish! In a flash of silver light, the silver sword pierced through the air and appeared in front of this team. Swoosh! The sword pierced through 5 experts in the team. Their bodies and souls cleaved in 2 as they died. The rest of the team stood in a daze, their minds trembling in fear, but their bodies didn't dare to move. This sight also intimidated the other teams that were just about to approach the silver sword. A good sword. Quasi-god Heaven Swallower's eyes flashed. Such a powerful and terrifying sword was naturally the most suitable weapon for him. Delish. After killing 5 people, the silver sword did not leave. Instead, it wandered around the sky as if taunting the people below. "Help me get this sword," Quasi-god Heaven Swallower said to the experts of the heaven-devouring sacred land. The god realm sacred lands had extremely deep reserves, and they had made ample preparations before coming to this secret dimension. However, they still needed to be cautious against such a sharp and powerful sword. Elsewhere, the Tianyun sacred land and several other teams were attempting to seize a gray stone disc. However, every time they came within 1,000 feet of the stone plate, they would be obstructed by a spatial barrier. Profound ancient characters constantly flashed on the spatial barrier. As long as I understand the content of the words, I'll be able to approach the heavenly origin stone plate. Quasi-god Si Kong's expression darkened. He was familiar with these words, but it was only limited to deciphering them. It was simply too difficult for him to understand them. Keep an eye on this treasure. Quasi-god Kong Yuan of the space-time sacred land pointed at the space-time robe and ordered. Swoosh! The space-time robe flashed through the air, making it impossible for anyone to get close. But compared to the other treasures, the space-time robe was the least dangerous. Target this silver robe for now. After observing for a while, Zhao Feng communicated with everyone via voice transmission. Zhao Feng was not a swordsman, so the silver sword was of little use to Zhao Feng. As for the trial of the gray stone plate, Zhao Feng would not be able to solve it. The other treasure was a violet flame, a flame that could burn through space. This treasure might have been suitable for Zhao Feng, but it was the black flame Qilin that was eyeing this violet flame. The black flame Qilin and the ancient beast were much stronger than any of the 3 sacred lands. The danger was too great, so Zhao Feng gave up. In the end, only the silver robe was left. In Zhao Feng's view, this silver robe was perhaps the most valuable of the 4 treasures. Moreover, this silver robe was not displaying any great offensive power. It was only flickering back and forth in the air, dodging everyone's attacks. Whoosh! 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 The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and the others followed Zhao Feng in a certain direction. This treasure belongs to the blue-scaled race. The members of the blue-scaled race were currently fighting over a treasure with another group. Because so many experts had their eyes on the 4 treasures, the fight over these treasures was not as intense as before. Kid, what is the meaning of this? The members of the blue-scaled race that were fighting over the treasure suddenly noticed that Zhao Feng's group was closing in on them. Of course, we've taken a fancy to this treasure. Zhao Feng revealed a wicked smile. The blue-scaled race had wanted to kill them just now, but they had left after failing to do so. Zhao Feng was not a kind person. If he had the chance, he definitely would not let these members of the blue-scaled race go. Flame cut. Little Ling was merciless and used a killing move right away. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The fiery threads that filled the sky weaved into a multicolored flame net that shuttled back and forth in the air. Their target was the blue-scaled race. Destruction, dragon blast, thunder, and lightning. Everyone in Zhao Feng's group attacked. Go! The members of the blue-scaled race worked together and attacked together. They had the advantage in numbers, so they did not fear Zhao Feng's group at all. Junior, the blue-scaled race didn't do much damage to you. Why bother? The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race advised. His eyes were fixed on Zhao Wang. The divine weapon of death in Zhao Wang's hand was no ordinary weapon. Moreover, he was heavily injured and had not had time to recover. What? The other members of the blue-scaled race were dumbfounded, and quasi-god Lan Yi was even more stunned. The rank 4 true god of their group had submitted to Zhao Feng and asked for peace. The blue-scaled race was chasing us just now. If we asked for peace, would the blue-scaled race agree? Zhao Feng sneered. Before killing someone, one had to be prepared to be killed. Haha, everyone, let's work together and take care of the blue-scaled race first. We can then decide who gets this treasure. The other group saw that Zhao Feng's group was at odds with the blue-scaled race and immediately issued an invitation. Kill. Zhao Feng's group worked together with the other group to attack the blue-scaled race. Retreat. The rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race bellowed. Zhao Feng and the other group had the same number of people as the blue-scaled race, but their fighting power was far greater. Swish! With a flap of his golden wings, Zhao Feng transformed into a streak of golden light that shot toward the blue-scaled race. His target was none other than the Hu brothers. When Zhao Feng first joined the blue-scaled race group, Hu Cheng had made things difficult for him. At the crucial moment, he had even abandoned his tribesmen and fled. Later on, he had led a group of people to deal with Zhao Feng. The conflict between Zhao Feng and the blue-scaled race had started with Hu Cheng. Heaven-penetrating finger. Zhao Feng circulated the lightning fire obliteration, condensed it on his index finger, and thrust it forward. Uish! A tiny golden flame flickered through the air for a moment before piercing through hundreds of thousands of liya. Hu Cheng screamed, but he could no longer continue to flee. He was filled with regret for making things difficult for Zhao Feng. A one-hit kill. Zhao Feng was already a quasi-god, and his lightning fire obliteration was much more powerful. Coupled with his level 1 fire intent, he had no difficulty in instantly killing Hu Cheng with a heaven-penetrating finger. Little brother, Hu Sang angrily roared. He could only turn around and flee as fast as he could. In the blue-scaled race, Hu Cheng was ranked number 1 on the list of people that Zhao Feng hated the most. The second was either him or quasi-god Lan Yi. However, the rank 4 true god of the blue-scaled race had no desire to fight against the pursuit of the two groups. He was the fastest to flee, so everyone else could only follow him. No one cared about Hu Sang's life or death. Little Ling, kill quasi-god Lan Yi. Zhao Feng messaged Little Ling. If he didn't use some of his trump cards, Zhao Feng would find it very difficult to kill quasi-god Lan Yi. So he left him to Little Ling's swish. Swish! Zhao Feng activated the metal lightning radiance wings and closed in on Hu Sang. Zhao Feng, let me go. You already killed my little brother. Hu Sang sensed the dreadful wind, lightning intent behind him and began to tremble. Zhao Feng was simply too fast for him to escape. You're his big brother. Why don't you go down and keep him company? Zhao Feng couldn't help but smile. Sky-destroying, sacred lightning palm. Zhao Feng circulated his physical and sacred power and fired off a palm of golden lightning and flame. Boom! Bang! Crash! Hu Sang did his best to block, but he was too weak. He was pushed back several dozen li by Zhao Feng's palm, his entire body scorched black. Uish! With a heaven-penetrating finger, Zhao Feng had taken his life. On the other side, quasi-god Lan Yi was protected by a few experts. Even if the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon caught up and worked together with Little Ling, they would find it very difficult to kill him. After all, Quasi-God Lan Yi was a quasi-god prodigy of the blue-scaled race, different in nature from the Hu brothers. Master, the people from the space-time sacred land are approaching that silver robe. The azure-robed elder messaged Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's eyes flickered as he scanned the distant sky. He saw that the experts of the space-time sacred land and the others who wanted to fight for the space-time robe had used some sort of method to restrict the space-time robe to a certain range. Nearly 50 people around the space-time robe were trying to capture it. Don't chase after the blue-scaled race. Zhao Feng immediately barked. Everyone turned around and followed Zhao Feng in flying toward the space-time robe. Although the space-time robe was restricted to a certain range, it was still extremely fast, and it could even use instant movement to travel through space. No one could catch up to it. The space-time robe. Quasi-God Kong Yuan's eyes were brimming with excitement as he took out a dark silver jade talisman. Go! Quasi-God Kong Yuan shot the jade talisman at the space-time robe. Swish! As expected, the space-time robe dodged the jade talisman. Explode! Quasi-God Kong Yuan circulated his divine power and bellowed. Broom! The dark silver jade talisman exploded, sending ripples of space intent mixed with soul energy into the surroundings. With the center of the explosion as the center, the surrounding space began to twist as powerful soul ripples swept out in every direction. Buzz. BZZ. The weakened soul of the space-time robe was affected, trembling for a moment. The nearby people who were unaware of the situation were also affected by the sudden explosion, and those with weaker soul intents were knocked unconscious. Charge! Quasi-God Kong Yuan was the first to charge out. A few members of the space-time sacred land and a few people who were still conscious also charged at the space-time robe. Whoosh whoosh. The experts who were watching nearby immediately moved. Swoosh swoosh. Zhao Feng, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and Little Ling were the fastest, swiftly approaching the space-time robe. Got it. Quasi-God Kong Yuan was the fastest, his hand grabbing at the space-time robe. Swish. To everyone's surprise, Quasi-God Kong Yuan's hand passed through the space-time robe. Buzz. BZZ. A moment later, the space-time robe began to exude a strange spatial blur that began to spread. Swish. 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 Those experts who were a certain distance away from the space-time robe were suddenly enveloped in a layer of dark silver light, and then they vanished with a whoosh. The nearby experts were instantly dumbstruck and grimaced. In the sky, the space-time robe had vanished, as had all the people who had been close to it. Zhao Wang and Zhao Wan stood in the air, not very worried. They knew that Zhao Feng was fine. Chapter 1200. Where is this place? What happened? Many alarmed questions rang out in Zhao Feng's ears. Zhao Feng scanned the area. This was an empty dimension with 42 bubbles, each one containing a person. In front of all these people was a silver door that glowed with a dazzling light. Bang! Quite a few people attacked the bubbles in front of them, but they discovered that even their strongest attacks were unable to shake them in the slightest. The power of space. A rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land used his hand to touch the bubble in front of him. This was a small independent space of a very high level. It was impossible for anyone present to break it open. BZZE. At this moment, a half-transparent, long-haired elder appeared above everyone. This elder was wearing the space-time robe. Who is senior? Why have we been trapped here? The moment the elder appeared, many people began to question him. Didn't you want a space-time robe? You chose to enter. The elder had a benevolent and profound smile on his face. The space-time robe? Quite a few people heard this name, but still didn't know what it was. Some people instantly recalled the secrets of the space-time robe and were stunned. Whoosh! The elder extended a hand, sprinkling silver light over all the spatial bubbles. Words and images have suddenly appeared on these bubbles. Someone suddenly cried out in alarm. Then, everyone discovered that countless words and a simple picture had appeared on the bubbles they were in. This is a combat skill. Zhao Feng's eyes widened in shock. He scanned the area and realized that each person could only see the combat skill on their own spatial bubble. I will give you 3 days to comprehend the combat skill of your own dimension. Use this combat skill to break the spatial bubble that has trapped you. After 3 days, those who are still trapped in the spatial bubble will be eliminated. The old man in the air scanned the crowd with anticipation. This is a test. Quite a few people instantly understood the elder's intentions. The space-time robe was probably choosing a suitable master. In addition, those who break the spatial bubble first will receive many benefits. The elder added with a smile. Benefits? Many people became excited and immediately started to comprehend the battle skills in front of them. They had to come out of the bubble first. His comprehension ability isn't bad either. Zhao Feng's lips curled into a smile. He didn't know what the comprehension abilities of the geniuses of the ancient, desolate realm of gods were like, but Zhao Feng felt that his comprehension abilities shouldn't be much weaker than theirs. Swoosh! Zhao Feng circulated his god's spiritual eye and quickly scanned through the techniques on the spatial bubble. Space-time combat skill, heaven engulfing palm, mid-grade high god realm. Zhao Feng was taken aback. He did not expect that this combat skill was actually a space-time combat skill. The profound of space was already difficult to comprehend. If you were to add the higher level profound of time, the difficulty would be too great. Moreover, the combat skill itself was a mid-tier divine level, and he could only use it for 3 days. Little Black, what is this combat skill in front of you? Zhao Feng suddenly thought of something and asked directly. Space-time combat skill. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon said. Just as I expected. Zhao Feng sighed in surprise. Everyone should be facing a space-time combat skill, so it was relatively fair. However, the people of the space-time sacred land had an innate advantage, especially those who had the Eye of Space-Time. But what Zhao Feng did not know was that even with the Eye of Space-Time, the majority of people could only use space intent, unable to control time intent. Forget it. I'll comprehend it first. Now that Zhao Feng had been brought into this dimension, he could no longer fight over other treasures. Buzz. Using the God's spiritual eye, Zhao Feng's thinking ability, speed, and comprehension ability rapidly increased. Zhao Feng's God spiritual eye already possessed a space-type ability. Zhao Feng quickly began to comprehend the heaven-engulfing palm from the aspect of space. These were just a few simple palm techniques, but they contained a profound intent. When combined with time intent and space intent, they could display terrifying power. If he could completely comprehend it, it would probably be comparable to an ordinary high-tier divine level combat skill. This diagram, Zhao Feng's gaze fell upon the diagram next to the words. This was clearly a simple diagram, but when Zhao Feng focused on it, the image within the diagram suddenly began to change. In the diagram, a white-haired elder stood on a vast and boundless land. This elder was currently demonstrating the heaven-engulfing palm. Whoosh! This seemingly slow palm was imbued with an enormous pressure of the world, able to ignore space and slow time as it rumbled forward. It seemed capable of suppressing all things in the world beneath this palm. As Zhao Feng's mind sank into the diagram, he felt like he was personally experiencing the elder's demonstration of this palm technique. How wondrous! Zhao Feng sighed in amazement. This observation not only allowed Zhao Feng to gain a deeper understanding of the heaven-engulfing palm, it also allowed Zhao Feng's understanding of space intent to rapidly increase. Zhao Feng even vaguely felt like he could clearly sense the existence of time intent. I wonder if there will be any difference if I place this diagram into the God's spiritual eye? A pensive look appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Those who comprehended space-time combat skills and were already skilled in space intent, such as the people of the space-time sacred land, would definitely have an advantage. Thus, Zhao Feng had to treasure every second and use every method at his disposal to comprehend the heaven-engulfing palm and shatter the spatial bubble in front of him. Absorb. Zhao Feng used the God's spiritual eyes ability to focus on that simple diagram. Swish. Zhao Feng's mind sank into his mind. Whoosh. Howling winds howled over the vast land. A white-haired elder stood ramrod straight like an ancient tree. Whoosh. Suddenly, the elder began to demonstrate the heaven-engulfing palm. At this moment, Zhao Feng seemed to become this elder's opponent. He could clearly sense the space-time intent in the elder's palm. As this palm pushed forward, Zhao Feng felt like the world had transformed into this palm. He couldn't dodge, and he felt like he was suffocating. Boom! The palm passed through Zhao Feng's body. It's even more effective in the God-Eye dimension. Zhao Feng was elated. In this way, Zhao Feng could comprehend this skill much more efficiently than others. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhao Feng seemed to be right next to the elder, accompanying him in cultivating this palm technique. Boom! Bang! Crash! At this moment, some people were already attempting to shatter the spatial bubble. After all, the elder had said that it was better to break the spatial bubble first. So tough, an expert of the space-time sacred land said in shock. He had just scratched the surface of this skill and wanted to give it a try, but he only managed to make the spatial bubble tremble a little. However, if he used any other skill to attack, the spatial bubble would give him the impression that it was impenetrable. So difficult. A quasi-god with a heavy heart sighed. A space-time combat skill, and a middle-tier divine level 1 at that, was simply too profound. He had no idea where to start. On the other side, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had a faint smile on its face. If I get the space-time robe this time, I might be able to negotiate with Master. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had an extremely high level of mastery over a wide range of skills, and its ability to use space intent had also returned to level 2. Although the space-time combat skill before it was profound, it would definitely be able to comprehend it much faster than others. Boom! Bang! Crash! More and more people tried to attack the spatial bubble, but they all failed. On the second day, Quasi-God Kong Yuan and another rank 4 true god of the space-time, Sacred Land, managed to break the bubble. You can go behind that door now, the elder in the air said with a smile. Swoosh! Swoosh! The two of them passed through the huge silver door and disappeared. Just what's so good about that door? Quite a few people felt an itch, but they couldn't break the bubble. Senior, this isn't fair. Those two people just now had extremely profound space intent, and they also had the eye of space-time. A youth immediately said. The toughness of the spatial bubble is determined by the cultivation of the person trapped and the level of space-time intent they have. Thus, each of you will face the same difficulty, but the eye of space-time is a bloodline that is innately gifted, a kind of talent. The elder in the air indifferently said. It was clear that he was extremely displeased by this youth's question. At this moment, Zhao Feng was still immersed in the God-Eye dimension. Zhao Feng first copied the elder's every move, using the heaven-engulfing palm with him. It didn't take long for him to grasp a sliver of its essence. Afterward, Zhao Feng stood across from the elder as if he had become the elder's opponent, exchanging blows with him. Although the difference in power between palm techniques was like the difference between the heavens and the earth, Zhao Feng was still able to rapidly comprehend and digest it, improving with every passing moment. Unbeknownst to Zhao Feng, his space intent had reached level 1. Whoosh! Zhao Feng's mind returned to his body. Although he still wanted to continue learning the heaven-engulfing palm, Zhao Feng first needed to break open the spatial bubble and see what was behind the silver door. Perhaps there was an even greater opportunity there. Boom! Bang! Crash! At this moment, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon used an extremely advanced claw technique to break open the spatial bubble. Who is this person? He actually managed to break open the bubble. Quite a few people cried out in alarm. Before him, there had been 4 people who had broken open the spatial bubble, and all of them were members of the space-time sacred land. But now, a black-scaled man who did not belong to the space-time sacred land had broken open the spatial bubble. Master is about to make his move. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was just about to enter the silver door when it paused. It had relied on its superior knowledge and experience to comprehend space-time combat skills so quickly. It did not believe that Zhao Feng could compare to it in this aspect. Zhao Feng definitely could not break open the spatial bubble. Whoosh! Zhao Feng took in a deep breath, his eyes darkening as he began to exude an invisible intent. Boom! Zhao Feng waved his arms, his palms creating a wondrous spatial ripple. As he thrust his palm forward, the seemingly slow-moving palm fused into the void. A moment later, the palm slammed into the spatial bubble. Buzz! BZZ! The spatial bubble shuddered, but it did not shatter. Level 1 Space Intent. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was stunned. It had been at Zhao Feng's side this entire time, so it knew that although Zhao Feng's eyes could use spatial abilities, Zhao Feng's space intent had yet to reach level 1. This person's space-time combat skills have a bit of an intent. A rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land looked at Zhao Feng and nodded. Other than the members of the space-time sacred land, this was the first time everyone else had encountered a space-time combat skill. But although Zhao Feng's space intent wasn't very strong, the intent of the technique was there. Bang! After unleashing that palm, Zhao Feng's body moved. A second palm, a third, a seventh palm strike followed. Buzz! Buzz! BZZ! The spatial bubble shuddered even more violently. Plush! The spatial bubble suddenly shattered. Success! The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's mouth twitched. Zhao Feng had also shattered the spatial bubble. It had lived for countless years and possessed an extremely profound cultivation, but it had managed to shatter the spatial bubble at roughly the same time as Zhao Feng. Chapter 1201. Although the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was extremely indignant, it had taken note of Zhao Feng's progress. Although Zhao Feng's eyes could use spatial abilities, his body had not comprehended space intent. But just now, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon could clearly sense that the space intent contained in Zhao Feng's palm had reached level 1. The primary purpose of the first round was to test everyone's ability to comprehend space-time intent. Zhao Feng's space intent had reached level 1 in a single day. Such a large improvement was proof that his comprehension ability was up to standard, so breaking through the spatial bubble was no difficult task. This kid actually succeeded? Zhao Feng's success in breaking through the spatial bubble immediately attracted the attention of everyone present. Other than the members of the space-time sacred land, only Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had managed to break through the spatial bubble. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon gave off an unfathomable aura. It was highly likely to be an old monster that had lived for many years, but Zhao Feng was only a young quasi-god. Damn, these two scoundrels are so fast, Little Ling unhappily said. However, although she was a rank 4 true god, she was truly not skilled in space-time intent. The members of the space-time sacred land glanced at the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and Zhao Feng before continuing to comprehend their combat skills. In their eyes, the space-time robe was destined to belong to the space-time sacred land. BZZ! Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon passed through the silver door. Behind the door was a vast starry sky, and beneath their feet was a square stone slab tens of thousands of li long and wide. The stone slab was covered in many wondrous patterns and inscriptions. At this moment, 4 members of the space-time sacred land were seated cross-legged on this stone slab. The 4 glanced at Zhao Feng and Little Ling in surprise. It was clear that they believed that the people following them were either members of the space-time sacred land or experts of extremely high cultivation. To their surprise, however, it was only a rank 2 true god and a quasi-god. Moreover, they had no impression of Zhao Feng and Little Ling. What a wondrous place. Zhao Feng sensed that the space around him seemed to be flowing with a flow of space Upanishad that he could touch. Master, this place can be said to be the holy land for cultivating space-time ultimacy. Cultivating space-time ultimacy will be twice the result with half the effort. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon immediately messaged Zhao Feng. Space ultimacy was a must-cultivate ultimacy, and time ultimacy was one of the ultimate ultimacies, incomparably powerful. However, these two profundities were extremely difficult to comprehend. Therefore, it was easy to imagine how precious this space was. So this is the benefit that the old man mentioned. Those who arrive here first can cultivate here for a longer period of time. Zhao Feng revealed a faint smile. It seemed like it was worth it for him to break the spatial bubble as fast as he could. Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon found a place to sit down. However, before Zhao Feng and Li Mu could begin to comprehend the space-time ultimacy of this place, they heard an ear-piercing noise. In any case, these two will become our enemies in the future. Why don't we get rid of them now? A quasi-god of the space-time's sacred land, a wicked smile on his face, suggested. You think that the two of them can threaten us? Quasi-god Kong Yuan suddenly opened his eyes and coldly said. Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had gloomy expressions. These four people were talking about getting rid of them right in front of them, completely disregarding Zhao Feng's group. Quasi-god Kong Yuan was even more arrogant and conceited. It was like he was certain that the space-time robe would be his. Don't be in such a rush to attack. I'll give you a chance later. At this moment, an elderly voice came from all around them. Everyone present was very familiar with this voice. It belonged to the elder wearing the space-time robe. If you stay here for 10 days, only one day will have passed in the outside world. Cherish this opportunity. The voice spoke once more. If that's the case, I can cultivate here for at least 20 days. Zhao Feng's mind jolted, and he immediately entered a state of cultivation. This was a holy land for cultivating space-time intent, and the flow of time here was very slow. He had to make good use of it. In addition, he could tell from the first test that the space-time robe was a test of one's comprehension of space-time intent. This meant that the next test might also be related to space-time intent. Thus, Zhao Feng needed to do his utmost to increase his mastery of space-time intent. This way, he might have a chance of fighting for the space-time robe. Bzzz. After entering a state of cultivation, Zhao Feng activated his god's spiritual eye. At this moment, Zhao Feng's ability to think, react, and comprehend had all been boosted. After a period of time, Zhao Feng sensed that his understanding of level 1 space intent had been completely consolidated, and he seemed to have made some contact with time intent. If I use it with the space-time combat skill, the heaven engulfing palm, I should be able to comprehend it even faster. With a thought, Zhao Feng entered the God Eye dimension. Whoosh! The scene in the God Eye dimension instantly changed as an elder began to practice the heaven engulfing palm. At this moment, Zhao Feng's understanding of space-time intent had advanced another level, and as he observed this scene, he gained even more insights. Just like this, Zhao Feng observed the scene for a while before returning to this dimension to comprehend space-time intent. Switching back and forth between the two was extraordinarily efficient. Gradually, more and more people gathered in this dimension. The moment they arrived, they immediately sat down and began to comprehend space-time intent. Even if they couldn't obtain the space-time robe in the end, comprehending space-time intent here was still a great fortune. In this quiet dimension, space-time intent flowed like water around the group. Suddenly, a loud and clear voice sounded out, interrupting everyone's comprehension. Time's up. It seems that all of you are quite outstanding. Of the 42, 36 actually made it here. The illusory elder wearing the space-time robe faintly smiled as he looked at the group. Space intent is almost at level 2, and time intent is about to reach level 1. Zhao Feng sighed. It was a pity that he couldn't continue cultivating in such an excellent cultivation ground. Senior, we've only eliminated so few people in the first round. How many more rounds will there be? The rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land asked. The second round will begin. The 38 of you will fight on this stone slab. Those who leave the range of the stone slab will be eliminated. In the end, only 10 will remain. The elder's voice resounded. The second round is actually a battle. Only 10 will remain. The 38 people stood in place, their eyes extremely grim. Only 6 people had been eliminated in the first round, but the second round would eliminate 20. In addition, in this dimension, space-time intent combat skills will be strengthened. The old man in the sky added with a faint smile. What? There's a rule like this? The hearts of everyone present shook violently. The members of the space-time sacred land were ecstatic. They came from the space-time sacred land and were extremely skilled in space intent. With a thought, Zhao Feng messaged Little Ling, every one of the 38 people here, 11 are from the space-time sacred land. Little Ling glared at Zhao Feng and then messaged some of the others. Space-time combat skills were even more powerful here. There were 11 people from the space-time sacred land here. The meaning of Little Ling's words was self-evident. If the people outside the space-time sacred land did not work together, they would all be eliminated. Gradually, a few experts began to gather around Little Ling. Those experts who had not received Little Ling's message naturally understood what was going on when they saw this. The rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land frowned. Although the experts of the space-time sacred land had an enormous advantage here, if the other 25 people worked together, their defeat would be assured. There should be people from the Yangling zone here. The elder angrily snorted. Quite a few people from the space-time sacred land instantly froze. Only 3 zones had entered the wild, ancient secret dimension, and the ruler of the Yangling zone was the space-time sacred land. The powerhouses that came here, there were also a few that were from the Yangling region. They did not dare to oppose the space-time sacred land. Swoosh! Swoosh! 4 figures flew to the side of the space-time sacred land's experts. The rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land gave a slight nod at this sight. The people of the Yangling zone did not dare to offend the space-time sacred land. The other 2 zones were very far from the Yangling zone, and the space-time sacred land could not control them. Although the space-time sacred land was still outnumbered, all the members of the space-time sacred land were skilled in space-time combat skills, so they were stronger than the other side. Fighting for the space-time sacred land is your honor. The rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land bellowed as he led 16 people forward. Go! 21 people on Zhao Feng's side also charged forward. Boom! Bang! Crash! 36 people clashed, and terrifying intent energy flooded the area. Although Zhao Feng's side had the advantage in numbers, it only took a few moments for the space-time combat skills to suppress it. Heaven engulfing palm. Zhao Feng used his only space-time combat skill. Boom! An illusory palm of fire pierced through space and rumbled toward the enemy. Although it was a space-time combat skill, it could still be fused with other intents to increase its power. Everyone present had spent less than 3 days comprehending the combat skill in their spatial bubble, but Zhao Feng had absorbed it into his mind. As he comprehended space-time intent, he was also constantly cultivating this palm technique. At this moment, Zhao Feng could already use the heaven engulfing palm with great familiarity and even use some of its power. Break! A rank 3 true god of the space-time sacred land shattered Zhao Feng's palm energy. Again, Zhao Feng continued to use the heaven engulfing palm. Previously, he had only been comprehending it in his mind, but now that he was using it in battle, Zhao Feng gained many new insights. Boom, boom, boom. 1 palm of golden fire after another pierced through space and shot toward his foe. Child's play. The rank 3 true god disdainfully laughed. As a rank 3 true god of the space-time sacred land, Zhao Feng's heaven engulfing palm might be strong, but it wasn't enough to enter his eyes. However, he had no idea that the skill Zhao Feng was using was something he had only recently learned. Boom! Boom! At a certain moment, the enormous palm of golden fire that Zhao Feng had unleashed fused with the void and appeared in front of the rank 3 true god. Level 2 space intent. He was suppressing his intent energy just now. The rank 3 true god was taken aback. Level 2 Space Intent. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's expression froze not far from Zhao Feng. One had to realize that even though the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had been cultivating here for so long, it was still a very long time from reaching level 3 Space Intent. But Zhao Feng, a beginner, had reached level 2 Space Intent in just a few weeks. Just what sort of monster was this? Chapter 1202. To everyone else, Zhao Feng was just an ordinary quasi-god. But at this moment, Zhao Feng was using level 2 space intent and a profound spatial technique. Because space-time techniques were buffed, Zhao Feng's current fighting power was equivalent to that of a powerful rank 3 true god. So strong. Which faction's genius is this? His space intent has actually reached level 2. The teammates fighting alongside Zhao Feng said in shock. Quasi-god Kong Yuan was the strongest quasi-god prodigy of the space-time sacred land, but before entering the wild, ancient secret dimension, he had only been at level 3 space intent. Later on, a few lucky chances allowed him to comprehend space intent near the transparent palace, allowing him to break through to level 4. A few of the quasi-god geniuses of the space-time sacred land saw that Zhao Feng's space intent was so profound that they intentionally targeted Zhao Feng. But when they attacked Zhao Feng, they realized that Zhao Feng had 2 experts protecting him. One was a black-scaled, dragon-armored man with powerful space intent and a terrifying destruction intent. The other was a beautiful woman with a beautiful face. She had a profound cultivation and powerful fire intent. Boom! Bang! Earth incinerating flame. Heavenly God Tyrant Fist. The 2 sides were like fire and water. Many of the experts on Zhao Feng's side did not use any space-time techniques. But none of those who had reached this stage were ordinary individuals. They all had their own areas of expertise. Meanwhile, Zhao Feng was still using the heaven-engulfing palm over and over again. Although this place had become a battlefield, it was still a holy land for cultivating space-time intent. Zhao Feng could be said to be fighting, but it was more like he was cultivating the heaven-engulfing palm and comprehending space-time intent. Boom! Bang! Crash! The battle between the 36 was extremely chaotic and bitter, and the weaker ones were quickly eliminated. At this moment, the space-time sacred land side had 12 people, while Zhao Feng's side had 16. 18 more to be eliminated. Zhao Feng's eyes were constantly focused on the battlefield. The battle continued. In the end, those who were left were mostly experts with rich experience and ruthless gazes. It was simply too difficult to continue eliminating people from this batch. Perhaps, in the end, the experts on Zhao Feng's side, who had temporarily joined forces, would attack their own people in order to eliminate more people and advance to the next round. Fortunately, Zhao Feng had 2 helpers, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and Little Ling. As long as he was careful, he shouldn't be eliminated. Gradually, the battle became less intense. Many of them began to accumulate their strength in secret, recovering from their consumption and injuries. The Space-Time Sacred Lands team is too strong. It's too difficult to eliminate any more people. A rank 4 true god on Zhao Feng's side said. Now, there were only 22 people left on the stone slab. None of them were kind. We should work together and attack one person at the same time. That way, we can quickly reduce the number of people to 10. Zhao Feng suggested. That's right. Then let's attack that quasi-god first. Zhao Feng's team began to discuss countermeasures. Whoosh whoosh, suddenly, all the experts on Zhao Feng's side charged forward, targeting one of the quasi-gods of the space-time sacred land. Heaven-engulfing palm, swimming dragon sword, heavenly chasm, sacred dragon wave. An overwhelming barrage of attacks crashed toward a single person. Save me. The quasi-god instantly began to tremble in fear. Damn! The members of the space-time sacred land hadn't expected such a move. They wanted to help the quasi-god block the attacks, but it was too late. Boom! Bang! Crash! The quasi-god was killed, and their team lost another person. Kill! The space-time Sacred Lands team immediately counterattacked. Attacked that green-clothed middle-aged man. Zhao Feng's team reached a consensus and once more attacked a person from the space-time Sacred Land. Boom, bang, crash. After a fierce battle, the battle reached a stalemate. The space-time Sacred Land only had 7 people left, while Zhao Feng's side had 10. The two sides faced off on the stone slab, temporarily not attacking. With a thought, Zhao Feng entered the God-Eye dimension. After observing the heaven-engulfing palm for a few moments, his mind returned to his body to comprehend space-time intent. Time intent. Zhao Feng felt like he had touched upon something, but he also didn't seem to understand it. At this moment, Zhao Feng's time intent was only one step away from piercing through that final veil. I'll give you one more incense stick's worth of time. When the time comes, I'll choose the top 10 based on the number of people killed. The elder wearing the space-time robe in the sky suddenly said with a smile. The elder's words caused the 17 people who were recuperating to tremble. Why didn't you say so earlier? Someone grumbled. In order to kill a quasi-god or true god, it basically required a few people to work together. No one paid any attention to who happened to kill their opponent. Some of the stronger people didn't even kill that many people, while the weaker ones were lucky enough to land the final blow. Whoosh! The 20 people on the stone slab immediately stood up. No one knew just how many people they had killed, but if they wanted to advance, they needed to kill as many people as possible. Boom! Bang! Crash! Everyone was forced to fight once more. There was only one incense stick's worth of time. If there were more than 10 people left, the top 10 would be decided based on the number of people killed. I'm not fighting anymore. A rank 3 true god left the area around the stone slab, his body vanishing from this dimension. This rank 3 true god was very strong, but he did not believe that he could obtain the space-time robe. Remaining here was far too dangerous, so he gave up on the space-time robe. Die! Some of them immediately used their trump cards. Boom! Bang! Crash! The remaining people on the space-time Sacred Land side were all experts of the space-time Sacred Land, and their terrifying space-time combat skills were unstoppable. The rank 4 true god and quasi-god Kong Yuan of the space-time Sacred Land were the strongest. Heaven-engulfing palm. Zhao Feng was still cultivating this palm technique. This person's palm technique contains a sliver of time intent. The experts of the space-time Sacred Land noticed Zhao Feng's attack. Level 2 space intent, close to level 1 time intent. Quasi-god Kong Yuan's eyes locked onto Zhao Feng. At this moment, quasi-god Kong Yuan was somewhat envious of Zhao Feng. Even without the Eye of Space-Time, he had reached level 2 space intent and was on the verge of forming time intent. Although quasi-god Kong Yuan's space intent was at level 4, his time intent was only at level 1. Kill this person. Quasi-god Kong Yuan messaged all the members of the space-time Sacred Land. Okay, kill him. The rank 4 true god of the space-time Sacred Land nodded. Logically speaking, with Zhao Feng being guarded by 2 experts, their decision to act unwisely might allow their opponent to grasp an opening and launch a counterattack. But they had all seen Zhao Feng's talent. Even someone as talented as quasi-god Kong Yuan was somewhat envious of Zhao Feng, let alone the other members of the space-time Sacred Land. Kill. Suddenly, all the experts of the space-time Sacred Land shot toward Zhao Feng. Spatial shattering slash. Netherworld spatial lock. A vast array of space-time combat skills shot toward Zhao Feng. Not good. Little Black, hurry and use your origin energy of destruction. Zhao Feng grimaced. He had never imagined that he would become the target of all the members of the space-time Sacred Land. Buzz. BZZ. The black destruction serpent dragon's body suddenly began to exude an ancient destruction energy. Countless black flames and divine light madly surged forward. Swoosh, swoosh. Little Ling hurriedly unleashed a net of flames that swept forward. But space-time combat skills were far too powerful, and they instantly destroyed Little Ling's attack. Plush. Little Ling was struck by the shock waves of the attack and retreated several steps, vomiting blood. Boom. Bang! Crash! The remaining power of the combat skills slammed into the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's body. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon maintained its human form, its body seething with divine black flames. Its body was battered and tattered, but it immediately healed. However, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had consumed an enormous amount of origin energy of destruction. How could this be? Origin energy of destruction and an indestructible body. Just what race is this person? The experts of the space-time sacred land were flabbergasted. However, they could only sense the terrifying bloodline energy of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, but they could not guess what race it was. Kill. The experts on Zhao Feng's side completely ignored Zhao Feng and used this chance to attack their opponent. Space-time Slicer. Quasi-God Kong Yuan used his Eye of Space-Time to gather energy and create a silver blade that cut through the air. Buzz. BZZZ. The terrifying space intent and the ultimate time intent caused the hearts of the nearby experts to madly jump. Swish! This silver blade that cut through the heavens fused into the air, and a moment later, it appeared in front of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon felt like their thoughts and movements were slowing down. Everything around them was slowing down except for the fatal attack in front of them. Master, you owe me a great deal of resources. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon continued to use its origin energy of destruction, its claws wreathed in black flames as it attacked. Swoosh! After blocking for a few moments, the silver blade cut it in two. Dooish! The silver blade continued to cut at Zhao Feng. Clink-clang! Zhao Feng raised the shield-shaped ancient god seal and poured large amounts of lightning fire obliteration into it to block. Time intent. Zhao Feng fused his intent energy into the lightning fire obliteration and spread it out. In a flash, the time intent of Quasi-God Kong Yuan's attack was neutralized by Zhao Feng, and the remaining power of the attack was also blocked by Zhao Feng's ancient god seal. Level 1 time intent. Quasi-God Kong Yuan's heart trembled. In this moment of crisis, Zhao Feng had managed to break in a level 1 time intent. Kill. 3 experts of the space-time sacred land charged at Zhao Feng. All of you deserve to die. Zhao Feng's expression was cold as his left eye surged with astonishing eye intent. Space-time Slicer. Swish. Zhao Feng's left eye suddenly unleashed a silver blade that blotted out the sky. The profound space intent made the hairs on the 3 experts stand on end. Level 4 space intent, and it's a combat skill of my Eye of Space-Time. Quasi-God Kong Yuan was so stunned that he was frozen to the spot. He had spent some time accumulating power for this attack, but Zhao Feng had unleashed an attack of the same power without any warning. Swoosh! The silver blade, which looked like a huge wing, appeared in front of the 3 and sliced them in half. Dooish! The silver blade continued to fly backward. An injured true god was too late to react and was obliterated by this attack. It was the same space-time combat skill as Quasi-God Kong Yuan's, but Zhao Feng's attack had killed 4 people. That golden eye, could it be? Quasi-God Kong Yuan stared straight at Zhao Feng, his gaze falling on that deep and dazzling golden eye, and he seemed to think of something. Chapter 1203. That golden eye, could it be? Quasi-God Kong Yuan stared straight at Zhao Feng, his gaze falling upon that deep and resplendent golden eye. He seemed to think of something. Although he had long ago noticed that Zhao Feng had golden hair and golden eyes, the ancient desolate realm of gods had many races, and there were people with all kinds of skin, hair, and eye colors. For this reason, Quasi-God Kong Yuan had never imagined that the golden eye of heaven that he had fought with was actually Zhao Feng's. After all, in his eyes, Zhao Feng was far too weak and insignificant. It was only when Zhao Feng's left eye displayed its absurd abilities that Quasi-God Kong Yuan began to suspect that Zhao Feng was the master of that golden eye of heaven, the person who had used the eye of heaven to defeat him. He killed 4 people in an instant. A rank 4 true god's heart madly thumped. He had originally been in the same team as Zhao Feng, but when the experts of the space-time sacred land surrounded Zhao Feng, he did not choose to assist Zhao Feng, choosing to attack the space-time sacred land members instead. To his surprise, Zhao Feng managed to emerge unscathed from the encirclement of the space-time sacred land, and even managed to kill several members of the space-time sacred land. Whoosh! On the stone floor, the two halves of the Black Destruction serpent dragon began to stick back together and slowly repair themselves. However, its aura was extremely weak at this time, and it was incapable of fighting. Just what sort of bloodline is this? The experts of the space-time sacred land blurted out in shock. 3 experts of the space-time sacred land had been completely killed by the space-time slicer, but the Black Destruction serpent dragon was still alive and well after being cut in 2. Okay, there are just 10 people left. All of you have advanced. The transparent elder in the air said with a smile. Everyone scanned the area and saw that there were indeed only 10 people left. 4 of them were from the space-time sacred land, while the other 6 were definitely experts from the Tianyan zone and Gulong zone. All of you stay here and rest for a while. No one is allowed to fight. With these words, the elder wearing the space-time robe vanished. Little brother, your technique just now was truly shocking. A middle-aged man with brown hair came to Zhao Feng's side. Zhao Feng's performance was simply too shocking. Adding on the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's special body and Little Ling's rank 4 true god cultivation, Zhao Feng's group of 3 became a force that could not be ignored. Senior, you flatter me, Zhao Feng said politely. The god-eye duplication ability truly was powerful, but no one present understood what it was. This was also why this person had come to curry favor with Zhao Feng. After the second test ended, the remaining 10 people temporarily rested here and recovered from their injuries. No one knew what they would face in the next round. The only thing they could do was to maintain their best condition. If there's any danger in the next round, just give up, Zhao Feng said to the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had expended a large amount of its origin energy of destruction and was extremely weak. Its cultivation was regressing and would not be able to recover in a short amount of time. Fortunately, even without the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's help, Zhao Feng still had Little Ling, a rank 4 true god, at his side. After taking a few healing resources, Zhao Feng began to comprehend space-time intent. Zhao Feng was confident that no matter what the next test was, space-time intent would give him some sort of bonus. Several days later, everyone had basically recovered from their injuries, but the transparent elder still did not appear. After another 10 days, some people began to get impatient. That old fellow couldn't have forgotten about us, right? Many people were starting to get irritated. But Zhao Feng continued to sit in his original position, not moving. In Zhao Feng's view, being able to comprehend space-time intent here before the third test was a very good thing. Zhao Feng had comprehended level 2 space intent and level 1 time intent because he had come here. Swish! When Zhao Feng entered the God-Eye dimension, a white-haired elder continued to practice the heaven-engulfing palm. I can already fuse space-time intent into my palm technique, Zhao Feng said with a joyful expression. Only the heaven-engulfing palm with space-time intent was the true heaven-engulfing palm. This palm could ignore space, and wherever the palm covered, time would slow down. The enemy could not dodge even if they wanted to, and could only be crushed. At this moment, Zhao Feng's body sensed something strange, and his mind returned to his body. Boom, boom, boom. The stone slab they were on began to fiercely shake. Countless stones of various sizes began to float out of the center of the slab and fly upward. Retreat. Everyone immediately retreated to the edge. Boom. Countless white stones floated in front of them. Broom. All the stones began to condense, instantly forming a massive mountain more than 1,000 feet tall. This white mountain was completely made of stone, and there were stairs in every direction leading to the summit. Swish! At the summit, the transparent elder appeared once more. The first to reach the summit will be the victor. At this moment, the translucent old man's body suddenly blossomed with a layer of deep silver light. The final test. Many people were rather surprised. The first to reach the summit will obtain the space-time robe, a middle-aged man excitedly said. The final test was completely different from what he had imagined. Perhaps he would also have a chance to obtain the space-time robe. Just what sort of mysteries does this mountain hold? An elder suspiciously stepped onto one of the stairs. The moment he stepped onto the stairs, the elder understood that one could only climb to the summit step by step. Flying was not an option. Besides that, he also sensed a sudden gravitational force. The various factions of the ancient, desolate realm of gods all had their own trials and tests, and the gravitational test was one of the most common. This kind of test was usually related to strength and willpower. That's all. Zhao Feng also stepped onto the first step and felt the pressure of the gravitational force. But Zhao Feng did not believe that the final test was purely a test of gravity. The space-time robe is mine. When a body-tempering expert saw that this test was gravity, he was incredibly excited. He quickly climbed up the stairs and sprinted forward. This body-refining expert sensed that something was wrong. Turning his head, he saw that the stairs under his feet were actually moving backward. What's going on? The body-refining expert was stunned. As he continued to advance, the stairs under his feet were constantly moving backward. This meant that he could only advance faster than the speed at which the stairs were moving backward. But every time he moved a certain distance, the gravity on the steps would increase. It was too difficult to do this. Isn't it just a test of strength and willpower? This body-refining expert did not give up. His body exuded astonishing physical strength as he charged forward against the gravitational force. Go! We can't fall behind. The others all stepped onto their own stairs and madly charged forward while resisting the gravitational force. Thump! Zhao Feng also stepped onto the stairs, moving forward 10 steps. The gravity really is increasing, Zhao Feng muttered. At the same time, the stairs were moving backward. If Zhao Feng did not continue forward, he would end up back at the starting point. But even if Zhao Feng continued forward, he would not be able to reach the end. Thus, Zhao Feng stood motionless, waiting for the stairs to move backward and send him back to the starting point. Little Black, what do you think? Zhao Feng asked. The final test didn't seem to be that simple. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was experienced and knowledgeable, so it might be able to find a breakthrough point. The gravity on each path should be determined by one's cultivation. For this reason, quasi-gods and true gods with higher cultivation levels have the advantage. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon slowly said, its expression grim. This was what it had observed from the reactions of the others. So I have an advantage over the others. Zhao Feng had a pensive look on his face. But if it really was as the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon said, Quasi-God Kong Yuan was only a demigod, but he had the strength of a rank 4 true god. If the first round was a test of our comprehension of space-time combat skills, then the second round was a test of our fighting ability. The third round is probably a test of our potential. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's eyes were extremely profound. Potential. Zhao Feng took in a deep breath. Who could say for sure about something like potential? Although the various factions placed a lot of emphasis on potential when choosing geniuses, most people believed that potential referred to bloodline and talent, which was not the case. At least in Zhao Feng's view, a person's personality was also a part of their potential. This path must be completed in one go. If we stop to rest, we will return to the starting point. Zhao Feng said at this moment. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's eyes flashed. After careful consideration, Zhao Feng's words were indeed correct. The fact that Zhao Feng was able to analyze this point so quickly was also a sign of potential. Halfway up the mountain, the body-tempering expert could no longer resist the pressure of the gravity and instantly deflated. Whoosh whoosh. The steps rapidly retreated, and the body-tempering expert was quickly returned to the starting point. Quite a few people were still persisting on the other steps, continuing to climb up, but the steps were constantly retreating. They weren't making much progress. Thump! Zhao Feng sat on the ground and closed his eyes. "Master, what are you doing?" A look of surprise appeared in the black destruction serpent dragon's eyes. It was heavily injured and out of shape, so it had no hope of fighting for the space-time robe. So why was Zhao Feng doing this? "There's nothing I can do for now. I'll just cultivate and think at the same time," Zhao Feng replied. Although there was an additional mountain here, this place was still a holy land for cultivating space-time intent. On the summit, the translucent elder shook his head as he watched the people climbing. "Those with great talent and strength can directly come here. Those without great talent and strength, unwilling to admit their incompetence, unable to think about how to resolve their problems, unable to tolerate failure, and blindly charging forward, will never amount to anything in the future. I can use time intent." Quasi-god Kong Yuan realized that he could use the power of time to slow down the speed at which he was retreating. This way, he could save a lot of energy and increase his speed. The other members of the space-time sacred land saw this and immediately understood. However, of the 4 members of the space-time sacred land, only one other person besides quasi-god Kong Yuan had reached level 1 time intent. As expected, space-time intent also has its benefits in this trial. The rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land faintly smiled as he used time intent to slow down the speed of the steps. "Damn, this isn't fair." Someone grumbled, but there was nothing they could do. Quasi-god Kong Yuan saw that he was ahead of everyone else and gave a smug smile. The space-time robe would definitely be his. Quasi-god Kong Yuan then turned to Zhao Feng at the base of the mountain, his smile even brighter. "I originally planned to defeat you in a direct confrontation, but I didn't think that you would concede." Quasi-god Kong Yuan looked down on Zhao Feng with a disdainful smile. Chapter 1204. As long as no one reached the summit, this test would not end unless everyone admitted defeat and left the stone slab. Zhao Feng was seated cross-legged at the base of the mountain. On the surface, he appeared to be cultivating and comprehending space-time intent, but in reality, he had split off a small part of his mind to observe everyone else climbing the mountain. With the power of the god's spiritual eye, Zhao Feng could see how far he could go from the performance of these people. At this moment, quasi-god Kong Yuan was far ahead of everyone else. He was extremely strong and had many tricks up his sleeve, so resisting the gravity was no problem for him. Moreover, he was using time intent to slow down the speed of the stone slab's descent, making him an existence that everyone could only look up to. The person in second place was the rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land. The next was a rank 3 true god. His cultivation level was rather low, but he was very talented. After that was the body refinement expert. He relied on his powerful physique and indomitable will to climb upwards. Of course, their positions were constantly fluctuating. Compared to these people, Little Ling might be a rank 4 true god, but she was not particularly outstanding. High cultivation doesn't mean you have an advantage. What's important is strength, techniques, personality, and other factors. Zhao Feng observed the crowd as he summarized his experiences. Of these people, quasi-god Kong Yuan is the strongest and most talented. He has the highest chance of reaching the summit. Zhao Feng focused his attention on quasi-god Kong Yuan. Quasi-god Kong Yuan and Zhao Feng both had level 1 time intent, but Zhao Feng's usage of time intent was inferior to his. At this moment, quasi-god Kong Yuan was focused on using time intent to slow down the speed of the step's descent. Zhao Feng naturally wanted to observe and learn. If I can control time intent like quasi-god Kong Yuan and slow down the speed of the step's descent, I might be able to surpass the rest of them. As Zhao Feng studied, he made his estimations. Something's not right. Zhao Feng suddenly opened his eyes and stared at quasi-god Kong Yuan. After a long while, Zhao Feng's expression relaxed. So that's what's going on. The steps are falling back because of space-time ability, and quasi-god Kong Yuan is using time intent to cancel out a portion of the space-time intent in the steps, slowing down the speed. Zhao Feng's eyes lit up. Because the profound mysteries of space-time were very obvious in the surroundings, it covered up the space-time divine art in the stairs. Not even quasi-god Kong Yuan had noticed this. He definitely believed that it was the unique trait of time intent that slowed down the steps. If quasi-god Kong Yuan had realized this, he would have used his level 4 space intent and level 1 time intent to counteract the intent energy of the stairs and reach the top with little difficulty. However, the onlookers see more clearly than those involved in the game. Quasi-god Kong Yuan was a proud man who only cared about reaching the peak, so he had never thought about this. As expected, the key point of this round is still the space-time ultimacy. Zhao Feng sorted out his thoughts. Using the space-time profundity to counteract the space-time profundity in the stairs, he could slow down the speed of the stairs. Of course, he could also use other profound meanings, but the effect would definitely not be as good as the space-time profound, because the space-time profound would be enhanced in this space, making it even more powerful. My space ultimacy is only at the second level, and my time ultimacy is only at the first level. It'll still be difficult for me to reach the top. Zhao Feng's brow slightly creased. Once Zhao Feng used this method, he wouldn't be able to instantly reach the top. Everyone present would know of this method, including quasi-god Kong Yuan. When the time came, quasi-god Kong Yuan was very likely to use this method to reach the top. But if I don't act quickly, quasi-god Kong Yuan will think of this method sooner or later. Zhao Feng's eyes dimmed. Quasi-god Kong Yuan was no fool, but he was far too proud. Suddenly, a sharp light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. Swish! Many cultivation resources appeared in front of Zhao Feng. A golden god crystal, a giant horn of golden flames. Zhao Feng began to cultivate the 5 elemental wind lightning technique. Master is cultivating here? The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was instantly rendered speechless. It was even beginning to suspect that Zhao Feng had given up on the space-time robe. That's a golden god crystal, a golden horn from a golden horn fire rat, and a golden sun blood flame flower. Quite a few experts climbing the mountain saw the cultivation treasures floating in front of Zhao Feng and instantly became greedy. Not good. An expert was suddenly distracted at a crucial moment and was pushed down by the weight of the mountain. Thump thump. After retreating several dozen steps, this expert finally managed to stabilize himself. He wasn't the only person on the White Mountain to be distracted. Everyone else had been affected by the treasures Zhao Feng had suddenly taken out, including quasi-god Kong Yuan. Once I get the space-time robe, it will be your death. Quasi-god Kong Yuan coldly said. In the battle for the Eye of Space Transference, quasi-god Kong Yuan had lost to Zhao Feng. When he learned of Zhao Feng's true identity, his heart of martial arts had been dealt a heavy blow. Quasi-god Kong Yuan would not permit himself to be defeated by such a weak ant, so he had to personally kill Zhao Feng to untie this knot. It seems like the space-time robe will be taken by quasi-god Kong Yuan. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon sorrowfully sighed as it continued to recover from its injuries. Time slowly passed, but the trial was still ongoing. At a certain moment, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon suddenly sensed a majestic and profound energy surge out from its side. Master's technique has broken through. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's expression froze. But a small breakthrough in the technique shouldn't have changed much. Whoosh! Zhao Feng stood up, the corners of his lips curling into a smile. By using time and 10 on my body, I can speed up my cultivation. Zhao Feng could sense the strength of time and 10. Just now, he had used up a large number of metal Dao cultivation resources to push the 5 elemental wind lightning technique to the 11th level. 5 elements become 1. After all, Zhao Feng had already been able to convert the 5 elements, so breaking through wasn't a difficult task. Thump thump. Zhao Feng stepped onto the steps. Master is about to move. Although the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon didn't believe that Zhao Feng could defeat quasi-god Kong Yuan, it still felt a sliver of hope. I thought that brat wouldn't dare to come up. An expert of the space-time sacred land couldn't help but smile. You overestimate yourself, quasi-god Kong Yuan coldly said. Thump, thump, thump. Zhao Feng continued to take several dozen steps, and only then was he somewhat suppressed by the invisible gravity. Gravity, I also have it. A gravity energy surged out of Zhao Feng's body to resist the gravity of the steps. Thump, thump. Zhao Feng's speed was like the wind as he flew up the stairs. After taking 100 steps, Zhao Feng began to slow down. Charge! Zhao Feng bellowed, his body suddenly growing taller. Swish! 5-colored lightning condensed into dazzling patterns that covered Zhao Feng's entire body. At this moment, Zhao Feng was like a 5-colored mountain of lightning, his physical body shaking the heavens. Thump! Zhao Feng increased his speed, circulating his 5 elements divine power as he pressed forward. There were 8 people climbing the mountain, and now one of them had been overtaken by Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng quickly overtook the second person. This person's strength and body are so strong. The expert that had been overtaken by Zhao Feng's side. Thump, thump, thump. When Zhao Feng overtook the third person, he finally began to slow down. So strong. Little Ling stared at Zhao Feng and spat out these 2 words. Brat, this will be your final stop. The expert of the space-time sacred land, who was in 4th place, angrily roared. Is that so? Zhao Feng couldn't help but smile. Space intent, time intent. Zhao Feng circulated these 2 intents and sent them rumbling down the steps. The steps beneath Zhao Feng's feet immediately began to slow down. Charge! Zhao Feng's 5 elements divine power once more surged forward, overtaking Little Ling. Thump, thump, thump. Zhao Feng was getting closer and closer to the space-time sacred land expert who had jeered at him. Impossible. You can't surpass me. The space-time sacred land expert was frozen to the spot, a look of panic on his face. But by the time he said this, Zhao Feng had already surpassed him. Zhao Feng was now the 4th highest person on the mountain. Thump, thump, thump. After using space-time intent, Zhao Feng's speed wasn't very fast, but he never stopped. Another expert was overtaken by him. The only people above Zhao Feng now were quasi-god Kong Yuan of the space-time sacred land and a rank 4 true god. I understand now. Quasi-god Kong Yuan had a very deep understanding of space-time intent. He instantly understood how Zhao Feng used space-time intent. Buzz. BZZ. Quasi-god Kong Yuan immediately used space-time intent to suppress the steps, causing them to slow down. So that's how it is. The other rank 4 true god also understood. Thump, thump, thump. Quasi-god Kong Yuan's pace instantly quickened. Your space intent is only level 2. It's impossible for you to surpass me. The space-time robe is mine. Quasi-god Kong Yuan imitated Zhao Feng's method and quickly approached the peak. But a moment later, quasi-god Kong Yuan sensed the enormous ripples of intent energy coming from Zhao Feng. This is so many intents. Quasi-god Kong Yuan's face was filled with shock. Up until now, Zhao Feng had only used space-time intent, so he believed that Zhao Feng only knew space-time intent. But now, the number of intents revolving around Zhao Feng made quasi-god Kong Yuan almost forget to continue climbing. I can sense at least 7 or 8 intents on his body. How could this be? Quite a few people behind Zhao Feng called out in alarm. Low-ranked true gods found it very difficult to comprehend many intents. Only ancient gods with high cultivation levels could comprehend intents much more easily, and it was very normal for them to have many intents. Zhao Feng faintly smiled and said nothing as he continued to climb. Now that the 5-elemental wind lightning technique had reached the 11th level, 5 elements become 1. Zhao Feng's 5 elements intent and wind lightning intent had been successfully formed. Although he had only just reached level 1 in each intent, the 5 elements intent and wind lightning intent made it 7 intents. If he added in space-time intent, he would have 9 intents. The steps beneath Zhao Feng's feet began to slowly recede at a snail's pace. As for Zhao Feng, Step by step, he quickly surpassed the rank 4 true god of the space-time sacred land and approached quasi-god Kong Yuan. He's only a demigod, but he already has 9 intents. The transparent elder on the top of the mountain revealed a shocked expression. No, I can't lose. Quasi-god Kong Yuan roared as he pushed all his techniques to the limit and charged toward the peak. He would not permit himself to lose to Zhao Feng again. I'm stronger than you, and my space intent has reached level 4. I climbed the mountain before you, so I'll definitely be the first to reach the peak. Quasi-god Kong Yuan inwardly roared. At this moment, everyone was looking up at the summit. Quasi-god Kong Yuan was getting closer and closer to the peak, but Zhao Feng would quickly catch up. Who would win in the end? God's sealing stone. With a flip of Zhao Feng's palm, a god sealing stone the size of half a man appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. The sealing power instantly dispersed, the gravity weakened, and the steps stopped moving back. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.